Hello everyone, welcome to another ServerSmash. I'll be your main host today. My name is Farah, and today I am joined by...
I am Redolent. It's been a while since I've been on here, but schedule's worked out today, and I'm going to be co-casting with you.
So, today is like a super awesome special day. Why is that so?
Well, it's super awesome special if you like the continent we are, or it might be your nightmare if you dislike the continent. We are having the very first ServerSmash on the continent of Indar. We've never done this before, and Indar tends to create some very powerful emotions from people. You either love the continent or you hate the continent. I don't know anyone who's like, Indar, it's okay.
Yeah, so I'll bring up the map now, as we are currently hovering over the Crown, which I expect everyone to go to at the beginning. But that being aside, this is our Indar map today. There's some important differences with our other ServerSmash maps here, but the intricacies of the Indar map. But essentially, we will have in the north will be Briggs, and they're reprising the role of the Terran Republic. They actually are playing TR, the underplayed faction. So I'm really stoked to see that. What do you think?
Briggs has done this before. Briggs really believes that something that we preach a lot of. It doesn't really matter so much what empire you play, perhaps even who fills out those roles. Do you need the most elite MLG players? Can you go pull anyone? Briggs really subscribes to the fact that you win ServerSmash by how you work together, by how you plan things, by how you do strategy, and so they're not scared to pull, quote-unquote, the underplayed, underpowered TR. And we've seen the TR win here before. We've seen the TR have some really kind of interesting tactics that the other two empires can't do. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to see them play again.
So that is Briggs as TR will be in the north, and the stats on the top left will actually update when the thing goes, so don't worry about those numbers. To the eastern/south warp gate will be Miller as NC. So, looking at the map itself, we can see that right now the territories are balanced at 44-44 a pop, so it's 4 for each, and there's a 10% neutral. The three territories in the north, Sour's Data Storage, Indar Waste Treatment, and Innis Salvage Yard, they're out of play, and they're really just to balance the numbers, and they don't really kind of break the flow of the gameplay. And the difference in today on Indar, more than any of the other maps, is that we have a huge number of large outposts that are neutral to be contested. We've had some small outposts. We've usually put neutral territories that people can go after, but this is the first time where the opening is just chaos. It's just absolute hectic. I mean, how do you think it's going to happen today, Redland? What do you think is going to go there?
When you look at this map, these are the kind of bases that if you're fighting on live on Indar, as a platoon leader, you might say, I don't particularly want to go there right now. I want to go fight somewhere easier. I don't want to go into the meat grinder of Howling Pass. The Crown. I mean, the Crown is legendary in this game. There were times where you needed 80% or more pop to take that thing. And in ServerSmash, you certainly have to think that the opening on Indar matters even more than an opening normally does. An opening's usually allow you to set your tempo, figure out where you're going to push, and a lot of bases that have fallen in the past, you think they're not going to come back. It's very difficult to take a biolab. So if you have a neutral biolab, getting that back. Well, we don't just have a neutral biolab. We have bases that their names kind of ring through history.
Right.
Are you really going to get Vano Archives back into ServerSmash while they're defending it?
And this is the thing. So you have to look at the map and decide that what priorities you play as the north or as the south, what strengths you have. But ultimately, no one here has fought at the Crown, highly unlikely, where the Crown was neutral and two teams really wanted it. So this is unique. And it's the same with Crimson Bluff and Howling Pass. These are completely new experiences because these will be bases that will be heavily contested but neutral. So the inherent spawn options will not be there. And Indar has a different map philosophy, i.e. it's not as advanced as, say, Hossen, which means we don't have sunder garages or clear spawn locations. So a good counter push on a large 7-minute base, assuming you have all the 3 capture points, your spawns can be easily wiped out and the flow and ebb of the battle can go back and forth. This is super exciting to watch. And of the large outposts, we actually have 2 contestable outposts that are fast. TI Alloys is a 7-minute base capture adjacent to the Crown, and a Latin Biolab is a 2.5-minute base capture if you have all the points. The SU really doesn't matter, it's all about the points. So these two bases might be heavily contested at the beginning because they are quick captures, and then we might just see a horrendous amount of redeployment side bleeding out all these large bases. Or maybe what happens is that teams decide, well, we want Indoor Bay Point and we want Howling Pass, and they don't contest each other. We don't know, and this is what we're testing. Today is the first time we're trying this indoor map, and the whole idea was to make it as chaotic as beginning at the start. That was the design philosophy of this indoor map. And we're really looking forward to it. Hello, Justicia, you've just turned up. Will you be helping Mr. Maelstrom today as the fun police / ref?
I will do, yes.
Oh, excellent. Right, so just before we go into a little bit more of the meta, we do have Captain in Arms slightly above us, and he is helping us out. How, Redland, today? What's he doing?
Captain in Arms is from Voodoo Company, and many people in Planetside actually know of him as the Radio Free Araxis.
All right, well, let's bring him down and ask him.
If you're on Emerald, he stands in the NC Warp Gate, and he produces a radio program of the goings-on of Emerald. So I'm going to drag him down here, and we can talk to him.
Hey, Captain. How you doing?
Oh, there we go. I can talk now. Hey.
So why don't you tell us about Radio Free Araxis and what it is you're doing today?
Radio Free Araxis. Well, Radio Free Araxis is a multifaceted in-game news organization. Started out by me, and we have multiple ways of covering news on Araxis, but I think the one that has garnered most attention on the Reddits and YouTubes is Warpgate News. Warpgate News, which is a week in review live news show, live at the Warp Gates, utilizing current events, covering PS2 development, such as game updates, outfit activities, particularly outfits in pursuit of the llama, Araxian culture, such as that Panda game lore video, and your weather and traffic, and ServerSmash. There we go. And ServerSmash today, I'm going to be doing some live on-the-ground coverage, trying to follow specific outfits and squads as they move back and forth. Trying to see if I can sneakily go into TeamSpeak channels and just kind of observe the comms there, because I know most people don't get to look at that. And you guys tend to look at the map more, more the general grand strategy of things. I'll be covering, not live, but through recording, maybe audio or video, trying to cover that as well.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to your material, and if anyone's interested, how can they find your material if they're interested?
Well, I'm trying to get off the ground here. I think we're just less than a month old. But for now, at RadFreeAraxis on Twitter, at RADFreeAraxis. There you can get show alerts for all my live Warpgate news. Unfortunately, we only do NC currently, because NC is the only faction that can tolerate me. Terran like to censor me, and Vanu always doxes me with their spandex and all that. But yeah, NC Warpgates specifically on Emerald, but I'm trying to branch out into the other servers as well. I knew I did a Cobalt one as well earlier today, but yes.
Well, thanks very much, and I'm sure the crowd will be looking forward to your in-depth reporting.
Thank you.
All right.
So, right, for the rest of Indar here, while we're counting down now, we've got 7 minutes till game start. You are the NC or you're the TR commander. Now, the way I see it, he's jumped away. Alright, so with the way I see it, guys, until Redland comes back, is I see that perhaps Howling Pass is an easier base capture in terms of vehicle flow from Mao Tech Plant. So I can think that in the north we'll have an easier time taking Howling Pass checkpoint. That's not to say that the south won't contest it, but it should be an easier capture from the north. Crimson Bluff is one of those bases where it has so many adjoining connections, it has to be favour the south. The Palisade is such a long travel distance that they might get messed with, but I would say if you get control of the vehicle terminals or destroy them, then the south has a huge advantage. The Crown is iffy. I'd have to say it probably favours the south slightly due to the fact that Ceres Hydroponics has kind of a long drive-in, and unless the north gets TIA alloys to give them an extra link in, the two southern points makes it a 20-minute long base capture, but there are no spawns at the Crown, so maybe the alpha capture point is also something that the south can hold on to. So, moving on, TI alloys is iffy. I think it's more of a 50-50, but the precarious thing is a Latin botany wing that is vulnerable. If the north gets the biolab really fast, they can push on to botany wing and then close off TI alloys and get it essentially for free, if it's not already been kind of heavily done. Vanu Archives is another base similar to Crimson Bluff that the south probably really needs to get their hands on due to the number of links it then offers. Those are high value targets, and it's easier because of the number of vehicle pullouts. And then finally... Yeah, go ahead.
That is something we've talked about this before. Of what kind of commander are you? What what are you looking at when you look at a base connection? So from the north, you have bases like Vanu Archives, you have bases like Crimson Bluff that from the north give you 3 access points out. So there are commanders who look at that and say, I want to take that base because I now can push out to 3 different bases. There are other commanders who say, I want to take that base and defend there because I am limiting the number of options my enemy has. And this is, I've talked to multiple force commanders, and that's really the huge difference is, do you want to go in and try and take a Crimson Bluff so that you have 3 opportunities to attack out of it? Or do you want to go ahead and take Crimson Bluff to make a block and say, they can only come at me one way. I can now put less people here and move other people around to different lanes. And
Sure. And because once you get the base, it's such a huge difference because you're now the defender that can spawn in. And then finally, Indar Bay Point may be something that the North wants to defend, protect the Havar tech plant, or maybe they want to grab it because it's so far away and make a push in the south. Because there's a number of soft bases that lead up to Paris Amp Station. There's about 5 or 6 small territories here that is good for territory control and to just flip the balance of it just in your favor slightly. So I would probably think that the Northern Warp Gate has a small edge in that if it is super aggressive and gets certain key large outposts, they can then push into lots of smaller outposts of the south. Whereas of the south, if they lock down their large outposts, they have maybe not as many small territories to push into, but it kind of ebbs and flows. We really need to see what happens here today, but with about just under 4 minutes to go, if you were the Briggs commander, how would you open up today, Redland?
Oh, I have to do a continent reset. So if you're not spawned in a vehicle yet, don't spawn in a vehicle.
Well, what are you doing? Wait, sorry, what? Maelstrom, can you go find out what he's doing so he doesn't break stuff?
He has to reset the continent because various turrets at various bases are broken.
Oh. Is that something he can do? I'm learning stuff every day.
It is. Unfortunately, what it means is that it's possible that people are going to die here in the warp gates.
Hold on. Hold my beer. I'm off to the warp gate.
So for those of you who don't know, we are constantly working with the Daybreak devs to increase the ability for us to set things up for these continents. And one of the things that we have now is the ability to set a continent automatically, basically the equivalent of an unlock state in when you unlock a continent because of population or because an alert ends. One of the things that does is it automatically repairs everything on the continent.
Oh god, you're gonna kill everybody. You're gonna kill them all. You've got them in the warp gates. Oh god, you just killed the entire Miller force.
Restricted area.
Okay.
That was everything.
We are going to have to delay this now because that was stupid with 2.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Should we delay it till 10 past?
Yeah, we'll delay it by 10 minutes until the rest. Oh wow, that was painful to watch. Maelstrom, go down and tell Miller people that we delayed in 10 minutes. Tell everyone else, okay?
Let's just do it now. An all call. This is Melton 26, game referee and all call. We are delaying the match until 10 minutes past the hour. I repeat, we are delaying the match until 10 minutes past the hour. I need to reset some things now.
So, just to explain what was going on, guys, certain terminals, devices, gens, they were not fully repaired, they're not set up, and to make the map fairly balanced, we're delaying it by 10 minutes because we're having a smorgasbord of base flipping. Oh god, he's going to be killing the Briggs team now. Maelstrom, you need to go talk and find Justicia and tell him the issues you had. Professionalism at its finest, guys. On stream. Okay.
This is people ask why
is he doing
back into another tournament and stuff. This is one of the reasons. We still have stuff to test. We're trying to test this new continent. We're trying to test some of the new stuff.
So basically, we've got new scripts, and I'm going to go rip Justicia a new one here because he's just turned up the last minute late, I might add, and then decides, oh, scripty yaddy daddy daddy, and everyone dies. Everyone dies. It's just mass genocide before a ServerSmash. I'm not chuffed. Anyway, guys, stick with us as we get to talk more about the map, I suppose. Redland. Ignoring the kind of layouts here at the moment, right? We've got the north, we've got the south. I don't know. I'm thinking personally, I would put emphasis on the Biolab and T-Alloys because they are quick base captures. Because you can allow certain large facilities such as Crimson Bluff, Howling Pass, the Crown, Van Archives, and Bay Point to tick down. Because even then it's 7-minute base captures, and then you can turn up, let's say, with a sufficient air force, kill off the enemy spawns, and then just take over the base capture. I mean, or would you do that differently?
Well, I mean, one of the things that you have to look at in and any alert that you do on live, any server smash, is where can you actually get territory either fast at the end of the alert, or where can you push to then get a choke point to sit down and hold. So if you're going to grab a bunch of territory early, you can't just grab it and then be washed back to some other base. If you're going to go get something, you need to go to a base that you can sit there and hold on. So attacking Indar Bay Point from the south doesn't really get you that much. You get two little things, then you run into a tech plant, and maybe you want to try and take a tech plant away from them. They have another one up there, so it's not, do you really want to go into that meat grinder? Whereas if you look at it from the northern warp gate, look at all those small little territories you can run into. So from the south, you have to think that Indar Bay Point is a place you have to defend. You don't want to lose that. If they get into our Bay Point, they have Highland Solar, Ioni Labs, all that stuff down in the south that they can grab a lot of territory from you. And as a commander, you need to look at that also. Let's say you save Indar Bay early on. If you let that fall late, you have to know that's where your enemy's going. They're going for those 6 or 5 or 6 bases back at the other side. The Indar is almost like a yin yang in that aspect, where if the south warp gate gets Crimson Bluff Tower, they have all these soft little 1-point bases that they can go grab a whole bunch of territory from. So from both sides, the way that you want to push is different than the way that you're going to have to defend a little bit later. I think that Alatum Biolab is going to be something that caps very quickly, but really I think what we're looking at in the very beginning is Alatum and TI are going to be our quickest caps, 3 minutes and 4 minutes respectively. Well, that's assuming that you have all 3 points on
sure.
3 minutes. And whichever way they fall, it is going to start trying to affect the other bases around them. So you cap Alatum Biolab, you have your people at Vanu Archives, you're trying to grab that. Now you have Alatum. It isn't so much that you're trying to use Alatum as a block, which is what we see a lot on live. People just sit there and they say, this is a wall, you're not moving past it. Alatum is the kind of thing where, let's say you get it from the north, and you're trying to get Vanu Archives. Now you move into Botany Wing, you move into Snake Ravine, you try and start bringing your Sunderers up, you start bringing your air up closer, and it allows you to exert more force on that base. Same thing with whoever gets the TI alloys, gives you that extra access into the crown. It's very difficult to attack the crown from the north.
So with that in mind, do you think Briggs playing TR's north, ignore the colours on the map right now guys, do you think they're going to prioritise TI alloys to give themselves a better push on the crown? Hit TI alloys really hard, make sure we get it in the 4 minutes, and then that allows us to attack the crown before the 7-minute base flip goes through?
Personally, I look at this coming from the northern warp gate that you want to try and secure as much of the middle as you possibly can. I think both servers should attempt to get Alatum, attempt to get TI, because you have so much time. It's going to take 20 minutes for the other bases to figure out. You might as well put people there, try and fight it out, see what happens. From the north, you're going to want to be pushing that western side of the map. You're going to be wanting to push into Vanu Archives. You're going to be eventually wanting to get into Bay Point. That's where you have that most territory to gain, as opposed to over on the east. And it's the exact opposite from the eastern warp gate. The eastern warp gate, yeah, they want to try and secure the middle. They certainly need to shore up Indar Bay and perhaps Vanu Archives and things like that. But if you're looking for where the eastern gate is going to try and gain its territory and really make its push, that's either getting the crown, that's getting Crimson Bluff Tower. Those are the areas that they're going to have to get to actually get into the territory that they would have to push deep into north.
So while we're waiting for this, and we have another 7 minutes roughly here until we got our news start, are you able to kick off your stream on Planetside Battle 2? Because there was a request in the chat if we have multis Twitch.
Yeah, I can go ahead and, since we have time here. I'm actually currently working on a backup graphics card. My graphics card is being RMA'd, so it's a new experience for everyone. I'm running on as what somebody in my outfit called MLG potato graphics. So what is that?
No, that's good, because now you'll be watching it through the viewpoint of Furiosus and any elite. That's your viewpoint right now.
Particles on, I guess that's the problem. So you'll see all the pretty explosions, which is not what you're supposed to do. But MLG potato. I like that term.
Yep, so while Redland's going on there, and I am being very patient with Maelstrom and Justicia, there will be ramifications later.
Are you on TR, by the way?
No, today I am on... Actually, you know what? I am TR. Apologies, yes. I am TR today.
Okay, so I'll be in C then.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're just killing time here for another 5 minutes. I guess in terms of air forces, the south has got the higher plateau in the airfield. So I was thinking that, certain burster air force, especially on Howling Pass, whatever team gets Howling Pass, if the south gets Howling Pass, I can see it as being a basically continuous firefight between the Mile Southeast Gate and Howling Pass, and that could be some awesome armor fights going on there. But if the north gets Howling Pass, which is entirely possible due to the nature of the layout of the base, it's going to be this awkward kind of lower territory, upper higher hills, and the flight ceiling isn't high because you're already pretty high up here on the Indor Plateau. So burster maxes and just anti-air in general is going to be kind of throttling off the next lateral base, NS Material Storage. So I'm pretty stoked to see what happens and what happens at Howling Pass, who gets it, and then how the flow of the battle goes. I actually secretly want the south, not because they're Miller to get Howling Pass, but just because the armor
has now been reset. Please go back to the watt gates.
You need to change the large outposts. It's not fixed yet. There we go, he's doing it individually. Okay. Have a quick peek at some terminals. Terminals are alive, guys! Look at that! Fixed terminals! Everything's good.
The Vanu's sovereignty has taken the facility.
Awesome stuff. Right, here we go. Are we good? We're good? Yeah, we're good. Right, we're good. Oh wait, no. 3 in the north, and then we're good.
Unfortunately, I will not be able to stream. The OBS is not set up for the graphics card, and I don't have time to do that. So.
Oh, okay, bummer. Right, fair enough, guys. I'll be the main stream today, and then that'll be that.
So match 26 alcohol map is now set up. The match is about to begin in 5 minutes.
No, it's not, Maelstrom. You forgot the out of territories in the north.
I'll do that now.
While you're at it, go find Justicia and stab him for me 19 times in the kidneys. And say thank you for fixing the terminals.
Bit aggressive, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's true. We do have a small bit of killing time. 3 minutes, 35 seconds, then we're kicking off. Hopefully there won't be another mass genocide. The thing is, that hopefully this hasn't screwed over people's resources either. Because pulling...
Given it enough time for the 10 minutes, they should have been able to...
just to remax back up, yeah, or grab thereafter. Okay. So this is, I guess one other thing is that today, right now, it is noon for me. Outside is glorious sunshine, but it's very early in the day. And for Briggs, because I'm in Miller's time zone, Briggs, it's their prime time or late night. For you, Redland, what time is it?
It is 8 in the morning for me.
Oh, that's not so bad. So, do you think this has any impact on, prime time for Briggs to get more players, or just everyone's just happy to play whenever?
Well, this is something that the players obviously want what they want, and they often take us to task for. Oh, why do you guys are deliberately scheduling this to screw with my squad because we can't show up, and it's like we are literally trying to schedule something from Central Europe all the way on the other side of the world with Australia. That's not easy to do, and so we happen to have this time where it works out. It happens to be midday for Europe and prime time for Briggs. Briggs has actually played these where it's early AM for them. So I think it's a nice little change for them. They get to play at prime time, see what different people they can bring. It's not 7 AM their time.
And it will be, it's actually more friendly.
I'm going to do the rest of the speech now. This is Melson 26 on alcohol. I will be the game referee for this match. Please pay careful attention. I will go over the match rules. All participants...
I muted him. GG. So while he's doing that, because I really don't want to hear the rest speech, I just moved this into the PR channel. Okay, so, right. We're almost there. Minute 30. I'm just going to play the intro video, guys, and then we'll go into the final countdown.
Alright, and your clock is set up.
Where we come from, we each fight for loyalty, for freedom, or perhaps enlightenment. But not here. Here we cast aside our disparate beliefs, our barriers and preconceived notions, and band together as a global force to engage in the largest competitive battles the world has ever seen. We are the squads, the platoons, the empires and servers, full of players coordinating a complex game of strategy and tactics. This is where combined arms happens. This is where war comes to play. This is ServerSmash.
These factories are owned by the VS and will remain so throughout the match. All participants are required to remain on the event continent of Indar during the entire match. You may
Got
not
15
leave
seconds,
the
mate.
continent for any other continent. If you have any account problems that need to be replaced, contact your server rep. And well, since we're very close to the start begin, we're going to start the countdown, which is in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Match begin.
And here we go, we started, so thank you very much for that, Riff. So in the north, Briggs is taking off. We see a widespread pattern of their aircraft going actually kind of all directions. What about yourself, Redland?
I am following the NC out of the warp gate through the canyons. This is the NC's, of course, home warp gate from back in the original beginnings of Planetside, and it looks like they are heading mostly to the middle. A lot of pushes to the Crown and TI alloys. That's where I'm headed right now.
Watching the Briggs force, looks like it's just a general mix. I think they're going for the biolab / TI alloys first again, as we were saying. We'll see in a second. Actually, TI alloys has been left alone. There's only a couple of droppers here. Maybe setting up a squad beacon.
Large air group. The Briggs managed to get their mosquitoes past the biolab and are starting to try and take out some of the NC forces that are trying to make their way to the biolab. The biolab looks to be the major pull in the center here.
Yeah, we can see some of an air force going on. Yeah. Thing is, the shields will be up, so no one actually can get sunders. So they may have. Yes, I think they're actually fighting over the vehicle terminal of a Latin research lab, giving them extra spawn. Yeah. So they've basically gone to previous bases, and it's down to sunder work and teleporters.
Very interesting here. Briggs brought in a bunch of mosquitoes. Usually what we see is Bale ESFs, where people will race to the point as fast as they can. That's not what Briggs did. Briggs brought its force to the biolab in galaxies, slower than their ESFs. They used their ESFs as interdiction against the NC ESFs that were coming on, and now the air around the biolab is all red. I don't see very many...
very heavy Briggs forces in terms of... And if we zoom in here on the minimap, I can see it's mostly, we've got TR maxes, that is Briggs maxes, pretty much out-popping anything that Miller has as the NC. Alright, moving along the rest of the line, at TI alloys, we got, Briggs is set up in TI alloys, bursters on the roof to keep away Air Force. That's really effective. Triple burster maxes with lockdown. Very, very nice there by Briggs to keep away any Air Force. And on the inside, they've got themselves about 1 or 2 squads. Good, healthy set of maxes. Turret defense line on the stairs. 3 minutes to go on that light base. In terms of the Crown, we can see that 2 squads for Miller is set up, and they're beginning. They've got themselves the Alpha capture point. I don't think anyone's actually won and got the Bravo. Sorry about the camera. Anyone of the right? Maybe now they're beginning to flip the Bravo and Charlies, but they really should be flipping that quickly. Crimson Bluff and Howling Pass. We'll go check them out now.
It's an interesting strategy at the Crown. Remember, with these neutral bases, a lot of tactics that would never work on live are going to work differently on this base. You know, there's no one to spawn out of this tower and come kick these NC off of A. So A is a much safer place to be starting things.
So what we see at Crimson Bluff is that one of the terminals is destroyed, but the second one's hacked. So Briggs essentially owns and controls the tower due to the nature of having the terminal, and having the vehicle terminal allows them to spawn. Howling Pass, which we thought would perhaps favour the north, is actually in the hands of NC Miller. Now, I think I know who's playing here, but 2 of the points, yeah, Alpha and Bravo are in the hands of Miller, but it's a long 20-minute base capture. There's some air forces, and the Charlie capture point is in the hands of Briggs. It doesn't look like it's a large force, and it probably doesn't look like the Miller force is that ready to push out. In fact, they're defending the generators, I think. Oh, well, wow, I just...
We had mentioned the Air Force for the TR at the biolab and how, you know, it was the only thing around. Well, the NC have come back. There are no more air, there's no more TR air around the biolab here. And it looks like the NC are attempting to push in. They have one of the points, but the TR are just absolutely stopping anything from getting anywhere near the air pads right now.
So, would you... Yep.
Quick question, have you reset your stats at the clock's rate?
I can refresh the page, we'll do that now.
Yeah, please do. Just tell me your timer.
155.39.
Smashing, cheers man.
Well, we can see that, I tell you what, in the teleport room, Miller is beginning to do a max push out of their teleporter room. Still 3 minutes. They've got the Charlie point, and their Charlie point is actually at one of the Briggs teleporter rooms. Plenty of maxes, some engineers giving backup support. 2 minutes and 40 on the base cap.
Slaughtered by the TR are set up on the balcony of the banana building, and
look at the south airpad. Trying to work their way in a lot of maxes, yeah. The SU has actually been killed, not really impacting on the biolab, but it is dead. A lot of engineers and max support.
An NC sneaking in there because it certainly allows them to possibly, even if the space falls, to come and possibly take things back. They are pushing into the powerhouse right now.
Well, you know, I totally forgot about this, but actually, LAM Biolab has 4 capture points, not the standard 3 for biolabs. A pretty ruthless max fight going inside the SU generator room. We see Miller's pushing up the main staircase towards the Delta and Alpha capture points. I'm not sure where the Briggs reinforcements are coming from.
And, you know, I mean, talk about irony here. It was the NC pushing with not near as many maxes as the TR had in the biolab. So TR had managed to bring in a lot of maxes with their Galaxy drop, and they were using it to try and take as much as possible. But the NC pretty much with, I think it was down to 2 minutes left, owned the majority of this biolab. A huge max crash coming down from the rock teleporter, it looks like, from the TR, perhaps?
Thing is that the, see, with regards to the biolab, if I'm not mistaken here, let's have a quick look at the map. Yeah, so the biolab actually has 2 links for the Briggs force, which means they have 2 teleporter rooms and 2 Sunder setups. So you have to favour the north in terms of the biolab access in getting in, and it'd be harder for the Miller force to watch all the teleporters and all the entrance points. That being said, however, they do have 3, and I believe they're flipping, no, they were possibly flipping the 4th. So they've got 3 of the capture points. It's still a 4.5 minute base capture. TI Alloys has fallen and Briggs has taken it, so they've got the first blood, and now the very small numbers actually on the crown that's going on. And look at this, Howling Pass, 4.5 minutes, is mainly just a Miller force that's currently at Howling Pass as the new conglomerate. Crimson Bluff still 2-1 numbers in favour of Briggs, but it's a 30-minute base capture. It means one of the points is being held by the NC Miller. Briggs, we already talked about the crown not being going anywhere. Vanu Archives, very small populations, a minute 17. It looks like Briggs isn't interested in Vanu Archives at all, and it's going to be a Miller base, and that's really important for them. They lock it down. Indar Bay Point, we see that Miller actually is stalling the capture, maybe even get it back because they've got 6% population. Right now, all the numbers and all the ruthlessness is going for the biolab. It's the quick base capture, it's the linchpin in the center next to the crown. Both teams want it. Both of them have committed over 2 platoons each to this base. And just for the numbers, guys, so we're clear, we are fighting 288 versus 288 today. The standard 240 is suggested, but they said no, we want more.
I'm here at Crimson Bluff Tower, and while it's not the gigantic numbers that are over there at the biolab, the NC have pulled up in the C point, and the TR are attempting to do a small squad with max support push onto C. It looks like they just got completely taken out in the little alcove at the very bottom of C. The thing is, neither side really has enough to kick the other one off of where they are.
Miller's just about to take the Charlie point. It's sub 2 minutes on the base. It's 90 seconds now on the base. They have all 4 capture points inside the biolab. Where is Briggs? We check the populations, it's still 96 plus. They got a lot of harassers outside. Perhaps they're killing off Miller Sunders in preparation for a counter push, but Miller can still reinforce via the teleporter. Oh, there's actually an armor fight going outside the biolab. Reinforcements, Sunders, Vanguards in galore. We're having a proper armor fight outside. The harassers of Briggs are being pushed away. They cannot contend with that sheer number of Vanguards. They're trying to do kind of long-range and kind of harassment engagements, but I don't see how this is going to have an impact on the actual internal workings of the biolab. The biolab is now 50 seconds to go. I'm looking at the teleporters. I mean, I am a Terran observer here. I'll be able to see when Briggs comes in. I'm not seeing it. Have they fallen back? Yeah, they've got some guys at Research Lab. They don't have anyone at Broadcast Hub, and their numbers are falling now in the biolab. I think Miller's going to get this. I think Miller's going to get the biolab.
This is something that we wondered whether Indar would allow for armor fights, and I think this might be the very beginning of an armor fight. The armor is usually not a deciding factor in ServerSmash, but on Indar, just because of the close ability to pull armor and the nice territory to use it, now that we see things stabling out, we might actually see that happening. And already, Miller has moved forward into Alton Broadcast Hub. Anyone who tries to defend this without owning the Biolab knows just what a terrible base this is to try and defend. Miller has an entire platoon of armor and sunders already sitting at this point, ready, waiting to go in once the Biolab.
So as soon as this Biolab goes through, which we think it will, it doesn't look like Briggs can do anything, and Miller gets the first of the large outposts, although be it the quick one, and gets themselves the Biolab. And you can only assume that in a matter of time now that the SCU and the generator will be repaired. Now, going back to what's happening in the rest of the fight, the Indar Bay point, Miller has a 60% population, or 64% population, and that is a long base capture, still isn't really going anywhere. The Biolab has been taken by Miller, and they're already beginning to attack the broadcast hub. And you'd imagine that Miller also got Vanna Archive, so that was first. Briggs is trying to attack it now, but it's a long base capture, just by the nature of it is very, very difficult. But Miller can bypass the fact that they're hacked at the Vanna Archives by going research lab in a secure data and heading towards Havar. In the center, oh wow, the crown is going to be captured by Briggs in the next 60 seconds. Totally didn't see that after Tia Alloys. Looks like Miller's not contesting the crown at the moment. Perhaps they're content with the fact that they have Crossroads. But the fact, if they do get the crown, it secures Palisade from one side and Tia Alloys from the other, but it opens up Zervan Pump Station, and we can already see that Sunder forces for Briggs are perhaps beginning to either just reinforce the Bravo capture point or head for Zervan Pump Station. In terms of Crimson Bluff, it's going back and forth. Briggs has a 60% population this time, 63%, and it's kind of going back and forth, long capture. Howling Pass, 90 seconds until Miller gets Howling Pass. This would open up options to Mao. 3 capture points are in the hands of the Miller Force. Now, I know who's here, and I'm not going to say for tactical reasons, but it might be my outfit, maybe. And we can see here that 2 of the capture points, 3 of them they're all blinking now. Perhaps Briggs is waking up. Yep, 50-50 numbers. Briggs has turned up. They've got themselves a Sunder set up. This is always a small fight. We'll see how this goes. Actually wondering where the fighting's going on. It is quite important, though.
The is 4 seconds away from capping, and interestingly, Briggs has sent a significant force to Vanu Archives. The Crown just capped for Briggs, and Briggs has put almost, or more than a platoon and a half, let's say, on Vanu Archives to try and take it down. This is an interesting choice. It's not easy to cap this base with defense, but it is easy to keep at least 1 point, that C point down at the bottom. I'm interested to see what Miller's response is to this. Do they come in at the last minute and take everything back except for the bottom point, or do you manage to bring in armor and kick these people completely out of here?
Well, 1 capture point of Bravo at Howling Pass is in the hands of Briggs. 2 capture points are in the hands of Miller. I think Briggs is mostly just hanging in B, delaying the timer. It's now a 2-minute 30 base capture. They have got a Sunder, this being Briggs.
Here comes Miller at Vanu Archives. They just did a massive galaxy drop onto this.
On my way.
They missed the air pads. Did they try and go down to get C back? I'm confused where they went.
Yeah, I can see a whole bunch of them went into Charlie.
Yeah, that's where they went. Okay.
Maybe they want to get rid of the spawn Sunders that are down at Charlie as well. Yeah, they're flipping Charlie, they're flipping Bravo. It was ticking down, but ultimately only got down to about the 5-minute marker. I mean, you already see that the numbers at are 50-50, close enough. Vanna Archives is more than enough to stall it out. 24 seconds on Howling Pass, and Crimson Bluff is actually also crucially going for Briggs. This is quite big, because I thought Crimson Bluff would be more important for Miller than Howling Pass. Because Crimson Bluff offers so many more links. Miller has managed to get back the Bravo capture point as my map loads, and they've got all 3 points, and a desperate galaxy drop and reinforcements now are coming in on the Alpha capture point. They might be able to get the... No, they weren't. They were picked off as they were getting to the count, and Miller now gets Crimson Bluff. Wow, this is platoon 3 for Miller, I believe. So, big play there. Now, the question is, what happens at Crimson Bluff? Is Miller able to respond at Crimson Bluff? It's an important base. They've got the Alpha capture point. They've got the tower. They've actually got some runners going towards Charlie to try and stall this out. Maybe flip the control. doesn't look like a very strong defense on the Charlie, and Miller's making the play to get the point. Now the thing is, they've got Howling Pass, they can actually use that as leverage. Maybe they go for Abandoned NS Offices, maybe they just apply pressure now to Crimson Bluff Tower. Vanu Archives is a 50-50 fight, long fight. Indoor Bay Point's a long 50-50 fight. Crown, Miller's actually pushed back at the Crown, although it's going to be a lot harder, but with 2-1 numbers. And now we see that Miller is taking the Charlie capture point, and Briggs very close to grabbing this base. If I was the Briggs commander, I would send a lot of reinforcements to Crimson Bluff, and we can see that now. See the skies? We can see the mosquitoes coming in. They'll be able to kind of hamper with Miller's reinforcements and spawn sunders. And so the Air Force has turned up. They've taken the Alpha capture point by Briggs. This is very good for Briggs. Now, with 60 seconds to go, they're online to get the base. Miller somehow needs to get a reliable set of spawns and perhaps get the Bravo and Charlie points, but without air control and reliable spawns, they might get it, but how long are they going to hold it for?
And it looks like the TR are trying to push hard for C. Oh, but B is flipping. This is constant back and forth, and I think what you're seeing is, because of the way that this map starts off, it's just constant offensive redeploys at the beginning here. The TR is making a huge push for C.
Yeah, the Briggs is going to get... Yeah, the Briggs is going to get Charlie from this. There's not really much, but the thing is, the timer has gone so much. It's pretty ruthless, but the reinforcements all favour Briggs at the moment. They have outside vehicle control, the outside air control.
And actually, it looks like the NC have pretty much given up, at least population-wise.
But they can't spawn.
Where they have pushed to is the Crown. They have an entire platoon. The Miller NC are at the Crown, attempting to attack.
Yeah, but look, they've gotten... Yeah, but Briggs has moved the defending force in the Crown over to Crimson Bluff. They've made sure they get the capture at Crimson Bluff, and now they're just going to get one base and then redeploy to the Crown. So I'm not entirely sure that Miller should have gone for attacking the Crown. I think Miller should have sent that entire attacking force to the Crown to stop Crimson Bluff going through. Because look at it now. 3 new bases are up for grabs in this material storage. They bypass the Howling Pass blockade because Crimson Bluff has been broken through. It means it could actually isolate Howling Pass if they get in this material storage, because they're now attacking from the west. Rust Mesa, into Rational Cavern, into Old Stockpile, Zerva Network Complex. It's definitely a danger there for Miller, and it's good for Briggs. Yes, they're pushing for the Crown, that's great. Maybe that'll pull some of the Briggs forces back. We'll have to wait and see. We can also see that some of the Miller forces are already pushing on abandoned NS offices. The Biolab is not really going anywhere, and the sub-bases aren't really going anywhere. Big 50-50 fights going on at Vanu Archives, and Indoor Bay Point is still the last uncaptured territory.
And I think that speaks a lot to Indar Bay. It is pretty much even access neutral-wise from both sides, whereas there are some benefits coming from the north or from the south for some of these other bases. It's pretty even access for that Indar Bay Point, and it's a long way from both warp gates, so it's not something that you can easily reinforce. It doesn't surprise me that that's the last base, the last neutral base to flip.
And the Miller force that is abandoned NS offices, they don't have any air cover. Yes, they've got anti-air Sunderers, but they're just being slowly picked on by the Briggs Air Force. And the abandoned NS offices is a super exposed capture point, and that's great if you have vehicle and air control, because you can dominate massive redeployments on the spawn routes. But in terms of controlling this, if you don't have vehicle/air control, it's very, very hard, because there's nowhere safe to place your Sunders on your spawn options. And it looks like Briggs is going to make it safe, and we already see a squad of Briggs now pushing NS material storage. Is to be seen.
That's one of the huge dangers with Crimson Bluff. It's not just that it allows that access deep into the warp gate; it's that it allows you to cut off that hard-won Howling Pass lane. It's interesting. I would say from a standpoint of who has the better access to get more territory at this moment, Crimson Bluff was a far better get for the northern Briggs forces than Alatum was for the southern forces. Alatum is just going to kind of be something you got to defend until you can actually push out and get both of those connections to it free. And Crimson allows Briggs to basically push wherever they want to. They can go for Zervan, they can go deep into the territory, or they can try and cut off Howling.
Well, right now we're looking currently at the map, and I'm at Indar Bay Point, and Briggs has a 70% population, and the base timer is down to 3 minutes, so it could be that they get themselves another large outpost here, unless Miller somehow finds forces. Miller's main pop advantage is at the Crown, and that's about that. They have pop at Rust Mesa, and it looks like they've got pop at NS Material Storage. They've lost the Abandoned Resource and they're giving that back, and they also have Puff at Crimson Bluff. So I guess from Miller's point of view, because they have 3 bases, they can always threaten Crimson Bluff. And so long as, let's say, they fight on Crimson Bluff and keep one of the capture points flipped, then that, I guess, works. It ties them down at 1 base and you're being offensive, keeping the enemy at their base. I suppose that kind of works.
I have to say, from Miller NC, I could stand as a Force Commander to lose Crimson Bluff. I could stand as a Force Commander to lose Indar Bay Point. Losing both, you're going to start having a lot of problems. You're just not going to have the forces to take care of all the different places that they can attack you. Indar Bay opens up, we talked about this earlier, all those small little bases, Ioni and Highlands.
Yep, I agree with you entirely.
Having to defend one of those, okay, fine. Having to defend both, that's going to become a problem very, very quickly.
As we said, it's 6 small bases from Indar Bay Point to Paris Amp Station in a line. Now, yes, Miller may fall back and defend Highland Solar and Ceres Farms, but it's 2 separate bases rather than 1. They have actually balanced the numbers, and it's 50-50 now at Indar Bay, and they dropped the Galaxy on the capture, on the air pads, and it looks like they've got the Alpha capture point. But Briggs is pushing back in. The problem is where has Miller got spawns? Briggs has Sunders, and they're driving the Sunders back in from Sandstone Gulch. It looks like the previous bases for Miller, the 2 adjoining bases, are being camped by harasser forces, perhaps? No, okay, they just had some vehicles. Right, so Miller is trying to bring in some spawn options. We can see 1 Sunder and perhaps another Galaxy with another squad coming in for Indar Bay Point. But the problem is that all 3 capture points, bar B now that is flipping with 2 guys on it, is in the hands of Briggs. Still 2 minutes, still a long time. Miller's got, they can still make a difference here. Looks like Vanna Archives still being pressured by Briggs. Briggs really wants to get their hands on Vanna Archives now. And that's down on a 4-minute cap, 70% population. The Crown still being contested by Miller. Miller really wants to get their hands on the Crown back. Latin Biolab, 70% pop in favour of Briggs, but importantly, it's not actually ticking down. It's a 4-point base. They need to get 3 points, so that really works in the defenders. The fact there's 4 points now means that you need 3, not 2 of the points to capture. It really, really does favour the defenders now, especially as them being NC. Now, in terms of the Crown, which we're now at, the 2 lower capture points, that being the Bravo and Charlie points, are in favour of the South because they're on the southern side of the base, and they are in hands of Miller. The Alpha capture point.
Crown fight now.
Yeah, it's a standard crown fight, cliche crown fight. And it's to be seen how this goes, because it's 60% population. So with 60% population and the territory in your favour for the South, that is Miller as NC, I'd have to favour Miller getting the crown, unless it's a big redeploy.
So the Biolab is suddenly a big problem for the NC. The TR have flipped the SCU gen and have piled all their forces onto it. I do not see enough NC at this moment to even take that thing back. So even though they only own 3 points here and it's a 6-minute cap, if they don't get that SCU back, this is going to go real bad real quick for the NC.
All bases are essentially 50-50 pop now with slight discrepancies. The reason why there's such an overpop of Briggs right now at Latin Biolab is because there's a big overpop of Miller at Indar Bay Point. So it's going to have to... I would obviously defend the Biolab before I get Indar Bay Point, so maybe some of those forces have to be pulled. Actually, we see that Miller is actually still heavily pushing on the Crown, and now they're flipping the Alpha point. They've secured the Bravo and Charlie that was flicking, and actually they've charged the SCU generator at the Crown with 43 seconds to go. This will kill off all the spawns of the Crown. It will practically give it to them for free.
The Biolab SCU is dead. There is no more SCU at Alton Biolab. 1 point is held by the NC, so it's still a 5-minute cap, but they are now surviving on Sunders.
Oh, here's a question. Would you give up the Biolab for the Crown?
I think no, I wouldn't, and it doesn't look like the NCR either. They do just at last. I mean, this is as late of a max crash as you could possibly do. I think these people were literally grouping up in the SCU, in the spawn room when the SCU blew, and just didn't have a choice and had to run out at that point. That was skin of the teeth kind of thing there. I don't think those people spawned in. I think that they were in the spawn room a moment ago.
To begin with, and they got it, yeah. So you can see that they've pushed out and they're recapping the points. So, Miller not ready to... I wonder where they took numbers from, to be honest. So they've saved the Biolab, and yes, it's a quick recapture now. They're going to have to do something with Vanna Archives. They can't allow that to constantly tick down, because when it gets down to a 3-minute timer, maybe 2.5 minute, and then you come back, as Briggs, I might just dump all my forces on it. So Miller's... Yep, go ahead.
Well, I mean, this is something that we've seen a lot of times. You know, you get these big bases by constantly putting pressure. I would say that even though the NC Miller have managed to re-secure Alton Biolab, they are definitely on the back foot for the rest of this game. Once you get that SCU down once, it tells to your attacker you're slow. It tells them that you're not as fast getting to go do things. Briggs is going to be back, maybe not 5 minutes from now, maybe 20 minutes from now, and they're going to do the exact same thing. And if they do it over and over and over again, they're liable to get the base.
The thing is, as Miller, you have a choice. You can choose to attack, and right now their emphasis is on Indar Bay Point and the Crown. Right, that is their emphasis. Everything else is defensive plays. If they get their hands on the Crown, which is increasingly looking like the case, but then again, it's still 3.5 minutes. They need to get the Charlie capture point back, and it's probably a Briggs force coming in from the Palisade. In fact, it's only even small numbers, so the Charlie point is now going to fall back. Possibly, there's a beacon for Briggs. It's to be seen. Is the squad maybe messing with it? But the fact is that they are messing with the SU. It's being saved, though, continuously by Briggs. But once we get this third point, it's 90 seconds to go, and that's not including the third Charlie point. It's going to be quick, like really quick, when this Charlie point flips in favor. There we go. So it's down sub 60 seconds. This is bad for Briggs. Briggs really needs to come back to the Crown. There's 70% for Miller right now at the Crown. Indar Bay Point is quickly 2 minutes now for Briggs, so I suppose if you're going to lose the Crown, it's bad because it opens up 3 bases similar to Crimson Bluff. And speaking of which, there's 2 squads at Ennis Material Storage and a squad at Rust Mesa and in Zervin Storage that's been saved, and they're going to lose Indar Bay Point. So would you sacrifice the Crown for Indar Bay?
The Crown for the NC just doesn't give them enough territory. It allows them to control the middle, and maybe that's what they're trying to do. They're worried about maybe galaxy spawns or air control or something like that, but there are so many other ways around the Crown, and one of the things that Briggs is doing is going around the Crown. They're attacking with large numbers at Latin Body Wing, and while that does give them another access into Alatum, it also gives them Snake Ravine and Crossroads and other ways that they can go mess with things.
So Briggs has managed to get the Charlie capture point. There are a lot of reinforcements incoming. The fact is, Miller was very close to grabbing this base, but a small force of Jugs was able to get the Charlie point. I don't think the Charlie point is going to be retaken now by Miller. This is going to be a very quick last-second save here by Briggs if they can pull it off. They need to get the Alpha Bravo point. There's actually nobody defending the Bravo point. There's a lot of pressure perhaps going for the Alpha point, and we can see there's a big crunch fight going on for the A point, and they might actually just get it. So there's nothing going on B, it's all on A, and we were sub 20 seconds here. So again, populations now are 50-50. If I was Miller, it depends, because you're saving NS Material Storage, you saved Rust Mesa, Howling Pass is fine, you're losing Indar Bay point capture even though you've got 54% population. You've got population advantage of Anno Archives. Because of Tia Alloys, you're actually losing a lot on Banny Wing, but you can probably jump back there from the Biolab. The Crown Bluff.
There's constant push back and forth, and it looks like the NC might be trying to get all 3 points back, but I just witnessed a single lockdown pounder max kill probably 2 squads of NC trying to push up of a stairwell. Anyone who says the TR doesn't have the tools to participate in ServerSmash has never seen that happen. If you are trying to charge your squad into the face of a lockdown pounder max up a stairwell, you are not going to have a good day.
Yeah, so we can see that the Miller is holding on to Bravo tenuously, although their Sunder is now dead. They do have a spawn Sunder, it's getting picked off by the air. Can you actually have a fly around and tell me, is there a Miller Air Force? Because right now I'm only seeing a Briggs Air Force, and Miller Air Force is, well actually I am seeing some Reaver, so I take that back in the sky. But the fact is, Miller's Air Force is desperately needed at the Crown. If you're going to send your air ball in, now is the time, because the Crown is ticking back, and you know what, Briggs has made the save. I don't see it going through.
Indar Bay Point is 17 seconds away from capping, and the NC own 1 point. This is done. All it's going to take is a single point flip for the TR, and
instantaneous.
This is over.
The thing is, Miller's even got population advantage here. They've got the center tower. It's not going to matter. Oh, wow, really? But this isn't like a last second save because you own the base. It's still a neutral base. It's still 20 minutes to go back. It's pretty tenuous. It's not like the Crown where it's pretty much GG. And we can see that Briggs has actually got himself deployed Sunderer looking in at Charlie. And they've got like a good squad plus going to the Charlie point. These guys at sea for Miller have got to get ready for this.
Something I did notice over at Vanu Archives is the TR are also using one of the advantages the TR have of the chain gun max or the chain gun heavy crash. Instead of pulling maxes, instead of wasting your resources trying to pull a max, if you pull an entire squad of chain gun heavies, you can push in through doors that you may not be able to just with the sheer amount of DACA you're forcing through.
Well, Briggs has got one of the cap points back at Indar Bay Point. That is the Charlie Point, and there's 1-2 squads are now progressing towards the tower itself. There's no SCU in this tower, so the shields in the spawn areas are up, still closed off. Miller's got hands on Alpha, but it's still a small force, and there's no spawn sunders that I can tell, at least, or see. It may be stealth though, so maybe I can't see it. The vehicle terminals, are they all destroyed? Yes, all the vehicles are destroyed, so everything has to be pulled in from outside. Still super close, right? Miller's got himself the Charlie capture point back, and we see that a Miller Lightning is fighting some harassers from Briggs. He's outnumbered 2-1 against Halberds. What's he going to do here? Oh, he's being picked on by the one in the rear.
This is the huge danger about some of these bases, and you know it's really easy to get myopic and just look at the biolab and say we have to get the biolab or get the crown or whatever. What Briggs is doing is trying to get those by cutting them off. They have a very
body wing.
It's under a minute to cap, and there is simply not enough NC here at the moment to solidly hold down this point. They got it back a moment ago, but they were immediately kicked back off by respawning TR.
It's that one spawn sunder to the north. What I don't understand, right, is that yes, there might be an A-Force messing with them, but there is a ground vehicle terminal. Why is Miller not using ground vehicle terminal and simply driving around? Alright, we see one sunder picking on it, and so they're now killing off the spawn sunder that's allowing reinforcements to the Alpha capture point, and they are actually here, even though it's a spawn galaxy.
Is still alive because a lib came through and killed the tank that was hitting it. Miller is not pulling vanguards or tanks from the biolab.
Maybe resources. They have pulled maxes and infantry. They got the point back.
If you look, you can see the TR Sunder from the shields. You can just play peekaboo and kill the thing.
So a second Sunder coming out. They know where it is. That is the only spawn Sunder for the TR. Their air force is here. Bulldogs from the galaxies, twin liberators, mosquitoes. Now, I don't know. URNC, can you find Miller's air force? Is there a Miller air force? Because that's the only reason why this attack is continuing. Is this Sunder, and it's not even. All right, so. It's not even a deployment sunder, it's a repair sunder. There's no reason why this thing should still be alive. Aside from the fact it's got like a numerous number of engineers protecting it.
And unfortunately for them, they're bringing in even more. There are more sunders coming in for Briggs.
Yeah, they got backups, so that deployment's down.
It got blown up, but there's another one already set up behind it.
And the Alpha capture point was left, is out. A lot of well, they all just died. It's ruthless on the point, but the fact is 60 seconds, they got it back. Miller cannot leave the point for at least 3 minutes. They need to lock this thing down. And in comes reinforcements now, I think on the ground floor, trying to push their way up. I think the reinforcements that were going for the Sunder are coming in. They've got plenty of time to run to the point, and I'm not seeing... Well, no, I tell you what, there is a spawn Sunder in the south, although that one can't actually technically deploy because it's in the no deployment field. The deployment Sunder will actually be further back around where the tree is. They do have a lot of squad beacons still. One EMP maybe, that would take it down. It's ruthless for the point. Briggs counter pushed on the Alpha point. Miller was trying a lot of pressure going up. It's Resonade Wars almost. A lot of grenades going off, making a big impact, picking off that NC max. 20 seconds to go. Miller's completely surrounding the building. There's no excuse now. Go in, kill everything. Or just run bodies on the point. Get on the point and just... Well, we'll see what happens.
What little air force from Miller that I see is maybe 2 squads worth of Reavers, and they are all up at the Howling Pass area. There's nothing down here. Briggs is
wow.
In the air around the biolab.
Briggs defended the high ground, and they only ever needed to fight on the high ground. They didn't need to fight anything coming in from the back exit. So they only had to watch one area, and they just killed everyone that came in. Maybe lag, maybe different weapon types, maybe something like that came into play. But the fact is, Miller had a full 60 seconds with complete surround, and they've lost the botany wing, and the biolab is now isolated and being ticked down. Right, so as a review of the rest of the map, Abandoned Ennis Offices isn't really going anywhere. Howling Pass is completely quiet and safe. Ennis Material Storage has been saved. Looks like Miller has a 50-50 fight going on at Crimson Bluff, so that's kind of a stationary target. The Crown was being messed with, but looks like it's no longer an interest to Miller. Indar Bay Point, high population number for Briggs. Briggs is maybe not pushing out just yet, but there's kind of a standoff. Vanu Archives is on its way to being fully saved. Perhaps Miller can make a play into Ennis Secure Data, maybe get a fresh connection to the Biolab from the research lab. The Biolab itself is only 2 minutes, but they've got so much population you think Miller would save it. The question is now, what happens about Snake Ravine? Currently, Briggs is on 50% and Miller's on 46%. Still roughly only 2 bases.
That's why.
Oh, right, because of the neutral. Yeah, so we're not going to have a draw anymore. But the fact is, it's a 2-3 base thing. So Miller's going for Abandoned Ennis Offices again, maybe ticking it down, kind of forcing perhaps a recall from the guys at Crimson Bluff. The Biolab is being slightly ticked in favour of Briggs, but they don't have the population, so I don't know if that will hold. We'll go have a quick look at Vanu Archives now.
If I'm Miller, after what just happened with losing very, very key bases here, especially in Indar Bay, I think you have to try and start resecuring that biolab. And the first thing you have to do is take Altum Research Lab. Research Lab is the worst point that you can lose at this biolab because it gives you direct teleporter access into the powerhouse. So put your forces there, try and get that back, resecure these bases, and allow you to... also, if you get Research Lab, you can start attacking a Secure Data Lab, and that saves Vanu Archives. If you start pushing that lane, you can...
No, I agree with you entirely, yeah. I think, so as looking at this, the constant pressure on Crimson Bluff Tower is good because it means that the rest on the east is safe. The pressure on Abandoned Ennis Offices is nice because there are 2 bases that you can capture. And if they got those 2 bases, actually they'd be in the lead. So that is another front that they could potentially win the game. Going into the Crown is unlikely unless you commit big numbers that it's going to go anywhere. So right now Miller is playing the defensive game in the Biolab. But crucially, the Biolab does offer 3 complete bases on all sides that can attack. And you're right, in terms of Vanu Archives, you make the save in Vanu Archives and then you make the push on Ennis Secure Data Labs. If you can get Data Labs, then you can potentially reconnect with the Biolab from a research lab, or you can go for Harvar Southern Gate. So even though, let's say Briggs has got 3 out of the 5 large outposts, there's still plenty of options for Miller to make progress, and we can already see that Abandoned Ennis Office is going down to 92nd, so we're going to go over there and check it out.
Briggs has already dropped a fairly sizable force onto Snake Ravine. They do not seem to have what you usually see on live, the surrounding armor to just shell things. They have a couple of Sunderers here. I'm wondering if maybe they're going to try and pull some armor from the Crown or something like that to come support this. This is a very campable base when you can get some armor up on some of the rises.
We can see that Miller has got locked down on... Oh wow, there's a big air force for Briggs looking between Ennis Material Storage and Crimson Bluff. But all of those mosquitoes are not looking at Abandoned Offices. They're all looking the wrong way. Are they turning around? Are they being pulled from Crimson Bluff? Right, here comes the armor now. There's a lot of anti-air for Miller. They do have some vanguards basically preventing any heavy vehicle reinforcements coming out from Mao, which doesn't look like there's going to be any at the case. It's all Air Force. It's all about Briggs' Air Force, and they're pulling in more and more infantry. I think Miller really needs some vehicles here, the modifiers, like kind of anti-infantry modifiers, because they're being overpopped now. And the capture point is quite exposed. It's close, but I think Briggs will make a save here unless Miller pulls off something very impressive. They are using some Sunders, double Bulldogs, very, very good at doing some suppression. That's some great work there. Vanguards are more anti-armor, so they're not really going to do much. Look at all these dead Maxes and infantry. I tell you what, this pound support from this twin Bulldog Sunderer is doing fantastic work at being kind of a force multiplier. And actually, it's Miller, I believe, that's firing all the smoke, blinding the enemy, forcing them to use night scopes that they may not have set up. Maxes don't have that. They don't know what they're going into. Last push now for the point. 9 seconds to go. Bulldogs are being absolutely ruthless here. 3 seconds to go. The Miller force should all condense now on the capture point. And wow, they get the base. Okay, I'm just gonna Way to go, any elite. GG. Way to set the standard. Okay, so moving on. That was good work there. I really, really like the fact the force multiplier of the vehicles. But criminally, what about that Air Force for Briggs? There was this huge Air Force at Briggs. Did they go somewhere else? Were they required? No, but they lost Brandon Ennis' offices. And this means now that this platoon 3, I think, from Miller, can potentially push up to southeast Mile Gate now. Maybe even threaten the tech plant. Who knows? Miller's also now got slight population on Crimson Bluff. They're making an attack. They've got 66% population on the Crown, so they're making a fresh attack. But crucially, and I don't like this, they are losing Snake Ravine Outlook. This is great for Briggs. They're pushing into another base. However, if you think about it this way, what does Snake Ravine get you? Well, it gets you another connection to Crossroads, and it gets you another connection to Vanu Archives. That's good, but you don't get any more squishy territories, so maybe they're focusing on the Biolab, but then again, the Biolab's only got 90 seconds, and then it's going to be in the hands of Briggs. There is a push by Miller on Indar Bay Point, so I like the aggressiveness by all teams here, but the Biolab is again under threat in a very short timer.
Yes, and the Biolab, I think, is the prize here. Snake Ravine, the reason Briggs would attack that is not to go after Crossroads, but to go after Vanu Archives. I think Vanu Archives has been shown to be a far weaker base in the ServerSmash meta than it is on live, because the points are so far apart. Briggs can get on there, they can get a couple of squads down and tick it down, and it takes a long time to resecure. It's not something that Miller can just hop in and wipe them off, and they have to spend a couple minutes there actually killing off their Sunders.
Okay, this is going to be a game of chicken here, because with 60 seconds to go and an SU charge, Miller spawning in, and they are maxing up. They got a lot of it. They are now 60% population. They have way more pop. 60 seconds is plenty of time to make a save. They're on the Bravo point. They need some squishies.
In that spawn room, it's not even funny.
Yeah. They brought not just a cave troll, they bought lots of cave trolls. The SCU, however, okay, so the timer's 3 minutes. That doesn't matter anymore. Now what matters is the SCU. They're rotating around the SCU, beginning to throw grenades in because of the compacted nature. SCU is on 12, 11 seconds, but there's so many people alive, it doesn't matter probably if the SCU goes down, because Miller already clears it out. Big redeployment. Now you have to ask about the resource investment here. This is 2+ platoons being pulled back to the Biolab. What's this mean? Well, they still have forces at Indar Bay Point. Nobody is there to defend Snake Ravine.
Destroyed again.
Yeah, but the thing is, they got more than enough people to make a save. The entire attacking force in a secure data lab is no longer there. They sacrificed the Crown. The entire Crown attack has been pulled back to the Latin Biolab. We can see that the Crimson Bluff fight is 50-50. It doesn't look like the team that was fighting along the Howling Pass lane is pushing any further to... There was a small cap going at Southeast Gate, but it's actually ticking down more. I'll go check that out in a minute or so. So the Crown's going to go back for free. Snake Ravine was a capture for Briggs, and it's to be seen whether or not they'll now got two fronts they can go for Vanu Archives, or if they want to go for Crossroads, which they haven't actually shown any interest in doing at the moment.
Say, this is now 2 attacks on the Biolab where the SCU has gone down. That is, if I'm the Briggs guy, I just say keep on doing the same thing you're doing.
It's so close, because if Miller messes up the timing of the redeployment, how can I get stuck in a barrel? Really? There we go. Sorry about that. So yeah, the thing is, if Miller messes up the timing on the Biolab fight, that's bad. Now the thing is, if I'm Miller, right, I don't think I want to be pushing the Crown, and maybe there's something about the timing. We've got an hour and 18 minutes, and maybe we'll bring up some stats here. But why force Indar Bay Point? Okay, it's good to fight at it so they can't go your territories. And I can understand Crimson Bluff Tower, you fight at it so they can't get your territories. And wow, Miller's actually mega reinforced Mouth Southeast Gate, so we're going to go there next. But if I was Miller, I would focus now around Alatam Biolab and Vanu Archives. Look at it, there's 5 territories that you've got connection to. Secure Data, Ravine, Botany Wing, Research Lab, and Broadcast Hub. And then even potentially TIA Alloys after that. That is where you will win this game. For Briggs, they're doing good with the bases they've got, but they need to secure their large outposts, and then need to push out and get more territory, because it can flip so quickly in this game.
The only thing that I can think is that Miller is saying, you know what, we're close enough to the lead. We know we don't want to try and push and hold stuff we obviously can't hold. Let's go ahead and try and tickle a tech plant. Let's see if we can sneak that out from them. Hey, if it works, then we're really great. It probably won't, but whatever.
Oh, this is interesting. So Briggs is actually pulling in an armor team from the rear. They basically came from Mao Watchtower, rotated round, and they're now coming in from the south, engaging with the Miller forces that are here at Mouth Southeast Gate. But this is not infantry. There are no infantry forces. Miller did pull actually a couple of Lightning Vanguards. They've got the high ground at the spawn, so they are actually rocketing down. Maybe they saw this coming. They've definitely got anti-vehicle mines under the bridges. We have a Halberd AP Vanguard basically being kind of the linebacker at the end, kind of engaging the armor at some distance. Slowly this Briggs force is pushing up, but crucially it's not doing anything in terms of spawns or getting infantry on the point. We're going to be now sub 60 seconds soon, but 65 seconds until the base goes through. In terms of population numbers, it's 50-50, but Miller has the cap point. See, Briggs, I think it's Miller that's using smoke like last time. Okay, here comes the infantry force in the bridge. It's one single bridge push. Can Miller hold them off? No, they're jumping out on the side. They're going to go in the side door. It doesn't look like there's any spawn options here for Miller. EMP, I believe, going out.
Why doesn't Miller have a Sunder? They already have all this armor back behind them.
Yeah, why don't they have a Sunder on the upper edge deployment field? I don't know, but the fact is 33 seconds, I don't think Miller will get this. Yes, they've got a lot of numbers, but without reliable reinforcements, I think there's just too much Briggs coming in from all directions for a 25-second base capture. You never know, they could pull off. If they collapse on the point right now, if everyone collapses on the point in the next 15 seconds, it's doable. No, actually, that's what's happening. It's a medic. Wow, the number of medics on that point is crazy, but they need to watch the stairs. There's only 2 entrances, well, 3 if you could the jump jetpacks. And Briggs has got too many, but this is where the res grenades are going to go off. I believe Briggs has set up a Sunder outside now. That's going to make it very, very hard now for the Miller force. Yeah, and Briggs has made the save, and that's it. So Miller's going to have to come back later when this entire force dissipates. But in terms of population numbers, they did pull slightly more than their number in. Okay, so Miller's got an air force and they've got some vehicles, but it's too late now. Even if you kill off that spawn Sunder, which is what's set up outside, it's nice try, I guess, is the correct term. The thing is, don't waste any more resources on this.
Time that we've seen, another armor battle that had a little bit of a decisive feel of why this base happened. So Miller had pulled its vanguards forward. They were worried about the tech plant, and they were up on the ridge line trying to use the vanguard's ability to basically be that thick shielded tank to stop things pulling out of the tech plant. And Briggs said, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to use our sniper tank from distance. We're going to come around behind you and pick off all of the armor. That was really good armor play from both sides, and it just the NC didn't think to turn around fast enough before the TR sniped them all off the hill.
Right, so if you look at the map now is what's going on. There was a close near capture by Milling at Southeast Gate, but that's been saved now by Briggs. Crimson Bluff is actually ticking down. It's reasonably distant. I think it's just above halfway marker now. 6 minutes 20, but they only have 2 of the points. But they do have 56% population, so they're threatening there. Zervan Pump was being attacked, I can see, but 2 squads have come back and saved it. In fact, as soon as Zervan Pump goes through, 2 squads of Miller are already ready to start pouncing on the crown. Crossroads Watchtower, first time that's been attacked, is 61% for Briggs, and they are got 2 of the capture points, ticking them down. Probably don't have the tower, we'll go there next. The Vanu Archives, 56% population for Miller, so they're probably going to be making a save and going for it. The Biolabs, 50% population. I don't really see that going anywhere, although maybe they've got 3 points now, but it is ticking down ever so slightly in favour of Briggs, but the populations are very, very close. And importantly, Indar Bay points now been fully saved, so it's to be seen whether or not Briggs can make a push on the south and get territory, because this entire south is where Briggs can make a lot of plays and get territory. Oh wow, and actually, tell you what, Sunder's come in, fresh reinforcements, 7 seconds to go, Mouth Southwest Gate, Miller is back. It looks like perhaps Briggs left too early, or they're forced back when we're looking at the map. They do have themselves, they've got the Vanguard outside, they've got a Sunder outside, that's only going to be 1 squad that can spawn in. We're looking at the surrounding area. They do have a deployed Sunder under the bridge, got a Harasser here with Vulcan, but this is going to be flacked at. With 45 seconds to go, even shorter timer. In comes now, I guess, this Sunder is very important now for Briggs. If Briggs can deploy the Sunder, right, it's deployed Sunder, in come the reinforcements. Are they ready to redeploy and spawn in? If I was Miller, I'd be fighting on the outside trying to kill the Sunder off, because it's absolutely crucial that you don't let them get it. Well, then again, 30 seconds, oh, they got, probably not their air force, just guys from the ground in air, being very, very helpful with air hammers. 23 seconds to go, super close. To be seen on the inside, the Miller force has the higher stairs. I think they have a slightly better control. I think they might actually pull this one. No, yes, maybe. They got a Max this time. That's a big difference. Holding the stairs. My God, that Max just earned his weight in gold. But they're losing the top section with 5 seconds to go. They need more bodies on the capture point. 2 seconds to go. 1 second to go. Oh my God. Oh wait, they got it back. Are they not got it back? Oh, that was super close. The number of bodies on that point. Briggs makes a 0-second save that went back and forth twice there. That was super, super close. You don't really get closer than a 0-second cap, and it's partially due to the Sunder that came out. They were able to spawn in and then push in. Wow, so well done by Briggs.
Would you like to hear a story that you've heard before?
Go ahead.
Briggs is 1 minute to capturing the biolab and are pushing on the SCU.
Okay, we'll come over.
They do not have the SCU flipped as of the moment, but they are on the SCU, and there are just simply not enough NC here yet. The NC were trying to push back onto the Crown. I actually watched their Sunderer train drive off as Briggs started attacking Crossroads behind them.
Oh, but check out Jungle. Big push out of Jungle, heading towards the Bravo capture point.
43 seconds.
Well, see, what I'm not seeing from Briggs when they're here, right, and maybe you can tell me because they get here first, is once you're here, why don't you do a Jungle spawn room contain? Like,
this is now the third time they haven't done that. I am kind of surprised because it's every single time that the NC resecure this, they always come through the jungle, and it's never. Briggs is very good about setting up the spawn contain through the boxes by the SCU, but they don't ever send a squad or more over to the other side, and it looks like NC is going to resecure it.
Resecure it again. I mean, and I guess this is working for them. It's taking up Briggs' forces, and then when they get close, they come back in. Now, a spawn room contain, guys, if you're wondering, is this is jungle here, and you have numerous options, because there's only one spawn room. The team has to come out from that side, or they have to come through this channel. So if you hold these barriers, or you hold the jungle area, you can control this entire half side of the map. And then by holding the, in this instance, the Charlie capture point with this building, you can contain the choke as they're coming out through here, and then you hold a spawn room contain. They have to come through preset areas, and if you have enough forces, it's really, really, really effective. And behind that, you can have minimum forces on the capture point and on the SU generator itself.
So Briggs is proving me a liar in many ways. I said that they were going to take Snake Ravine to go attack Vanu Archives, and instead they decided to attack Crossroads. They are 2.5 minutes with all points captured, and they can prime the SCU, although I don't know they can get anywhere near it right now.
So Miller was getting Snake Ravine, but looks like they've pulled forces back to save Snake Ravine, and looks like Miller now has 65% population on Crossroads. So we'll whip over there briefly.
And this is what we don't see in other server smashes. This is, anyone who plays on Indar knows these perfect little spots. We have a lockdown prowler on exactly the hill you think he would be on, absolutely just hammering away at that tower, sniping everyone who can come out of it. He needs a
he's high explosive as well.
Yeah, he needs a couple of buddies up there, but
he's been rocketed slowly. Yeah.
This base knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we see him, but the fact is the 2 capture points by Miller, they've got significant population. Although there's a lot of vehicle investment here by Briggs, and Briggs is only on 42% population, so it's close. Crown is a 50-50. Crimson Bluff is going to be pushed back now. It was getting close-ish, I suppose. Looks like the Miller force has totally left Mouth Southeast Gate. Maybe they'll come back later. Any secure data lab is actually ticking down now, so the 2 bases out of Vanu Archives, Snake Ravine's been saved, and it looks like Briggs might then try to redeploy to secure data. That's got 90 seconds. Highland Solar is 70 seconds to go. Check that one out. Ceres Farms looks like it's being saved.
There's a large group of lightnings on the north side of Highland Solar for the NC. It looks like they're doing some spawn hunting. They need to get some people on the point as well, but if they can pop those Sunderers, that will certainly help them.
Looks like at Highland Solar with 60 seconds to go, Miller's already on the... it's a couple of TKs there by an air hammer against his own guys. But they are on the point. Why aren't they flipping the point? Because they're all dead. Okay, that would be why. There's some good play there by Briggs, watching the kind of single stairway, watching the entrance. The thing is, they just needs a couple... Now, why are they not flipping it? Is it because of guys on the other side? Yeah, I guess the cap point is fairly large. So this is playing really, really well into Briggs' hands due to the large nature of the cap point, and Briggs is now falling on the capture point. They may actually now get Highland Solar. And it looks like reinforcements. So this is going well for Briggs because they're going to get Highland Solar, and they're going to save secure. Or wait, no, Max incoming, and some reinforcements by Miller, extra people coming in, and now they're just pushing it back. They've got the point, and now the openness is working against Briggs because they have to run in the open to the point, which doesn't look like it's going to be the case.
I think that was the choice that Miller just made. They said, you know what, we're not going to get
secure data lab, so we'll go for solar.
And what's interesting is these, I believe, are two of the least changed since release bases on Indar. At least there's some of them. There might have been a couple of buildings or barrels or something like that are put on here. But this is, the fights that are happening here are the kind of fights that could have been happening 2 years ago upon release of this game.
Yep. So at Vano Archives, 2 capture points for Briggs, long capture point. Looks like they may be getting an A. So they're trying to do Vano Archives again. In terms of Crossroads, all 3 capture points, because they've got 58%, so maybe some of the quick reaction forces were pulled to Highland Solar to make a save there. So they are being stretched, and Crossroads is getting precariously close. We can see a small half squad of Miller trying to get towards the Charlie point. No, they're flipping the Alpha point. That'll buy them a little bit more time. What they could really do with a bit of armor, yep, so they've got Twin Sunders, maybe some Lightnings.
Explain to me why the NC are so overpopped at the Crown when they're losing Crossroads behind them. I don't understand.
I don't agree with pushing the Crown. Alright, so let me rephrase that. I agree with a small force pushing the Crown. What they've got now perhaps is a bit too much, and I agree with pushing Crimson Bluff. Crimson Bluff from the Crown, I'm totally okay with that, making sure that they don't push you. But I think the real key here for Miller is the Latin Biolab area. Everything around that area on the kind of mid to midwest is the key to getting this thing. Now, that doesn't mean don't be a nuisance, as case in point, Mouth Southeast Gate is currently being, because they're back. They've come back as it was empty, and they've got a fresh push. But the problem is they've seen what the redeployment is, so what have they done differently? And with about a minute and 40 seconds to go, they're nowhere near as close as they were last time. In terms of population, they still have 56% population, but it's 90 seconds to go, and the Briggs force has got a Sunder up above, equal ability to run in from the spawn room or the Sunder that's above, and it's just a matter of time until extra numbers come in and push this Miller force off.
So even with the population for the NC here at Crossroads, the SCU has been primed. There is a squad guarding it. No, never mind, they just got killed off. But this is, even with the population, they are still having this base tick down. They had some TR who were up here messing with their SCU. Again, this is a far more important base to them than attacking the Crown is. And the TR are back on the SCU again at Crossroads.
Well, here comes the pain train. We're currently at Mouth Southeast Gate, and here come the Maxes. They know they're coming. The reinforcements are here. It's 40 seconds, but the Maxes just charged up to the point, and then NC doesn't have any Maxes, and that's just going to be GG, because it's going to do too much damage here, and that's going to let the infantry to come in behind. Although the infantry's a bit slow, grenades are going off, 29 seconds. It's admirable what this Miller force is doing. They're doing an extremely good job at holding this down, and then presumably tying up a large number of forces for Briggs. No, it's 46%, so Miller actually bizarrely has population here. Don't tell me they're going to get the base. Really? Well, maybe. Points flipping. You need to go back to the point, guys. They got the point, 15 seconds to go. They're doing an extremely good job of picking off all the guy. Oh wow, I don't believe they're actually going to get this, because it's not as homogeneous of a counter push by the Briggs force. Okay, the point's now flipping now. Here comes the numbers. It looks like the reserve of Miller that was on this balcony. 5 seconds again. I mean, okay, resonades. The problem is you're coming with half health. There's a ton of dead Briggs though. Here, there's a Briggs resonade. Reinforcements with the Air Force is just a bit too late. That Air Force is like 20 seconds late. Okay, reinforcements though from Miller is on the point, so maybe those guys dropped in. Maybe they beaconed in. I can't believe it. That counter push there, really well done. 1 second and GG. Oh wow, maybe I'm being a little bit biased staying here for a bit too long. You know why, you just saw that outfit. Well done. Okay, so Miller takes another base up, and they're closing the gap. They're only 47 to 48 despite what's going on the rest of the map. It is unlikely that Eastern Lane can make it into the tech plant now. And let's be clear here, Southeast Gate and abandoned NS offices can be counter pushed quite easily by the Northern Briggs team. So those are easy to go back and forth either way. It's all now, again, as I was saying, coming into play in the center. It's only one base now that decides who is in the lead. Briggs is winning, but by the skin of their teeth, it's close. Now, they are still applying pressure to Crossroads Watchtower. Miller's still applying a fair hefty amount of pressure to the Crown. Crimson Bluff is going back and forth, but essentially it's a long timer, so it's not going to impact any of the other bases. Vanu Archives is the next threat for perhaps Miller. Ceres Farms is taking time. They've got population. Sorry, go ahead.
The problem with Crossroads is that the NC have never managed to actually secure 2 points. They will get one, and then while they have to put everyone on it, and so the TR will go deploy another Sunder and take it. It used to be that the TR held C and A, now they hold B and C, and that's actually a better option for them because they can put Sunders underneath both of them.
Right.
There are some sniper lockdown prowlers that are just killing anyone who tries to come out the front side of this. They really need to put more NC on this base. It's down to 3 minutes. The SCU keeps on getting messed with. Oh, and here comes the armor push. The massive armor push from the NC.
Ah, yeah, but it's lightnings and sunders, though. I was kind of hoping to perhaps see some vanguards come out from Torch Depot. But it's enough. The important thing is enough. There's no spawn sunders. It's relatively exposed to the air, which we're not seeing a huge amount for. I think it's Briggs Jugs here. Actually, they're going to get the 3rd point. They may even just take the base right here, right now with the alpha point. Yep, sub 60 seconds. Miller needs to get a point, and ASAP. This is extremely good for Briggs. Even with this armor push, they've got a limited amount of time because their spawns are being picked off. They just need to crucially hold on to these 3 points for the next few seconds, and they will take the base. Doesn't look like Bravo is going to get taken. No, well, they've got a lot of forces. The thing about Miller is that they need to grab 2 points in a short period of time. They can't just put everything on 1 point now. It's far too close. With 26 seconds to go, even if they get 1 point, I think quite critically here, Briggs is going to make a save. This is getting super desperate now.
I would never have believed this. And look at who is still attacking the Crown while all this is going on.
No, the Crown's a mistake. He should be here. Okay, so they're getting alright, they're flipping Charlie maybe. How are they going to get alpha numbers on alpha? Because they got people for alpha. Run to alpha? No, no. Oh my god, it went back to 1 second on the alpha point. Is super critical now. Have they got enough people to keep this? You don't get closer. It went to 0, it went back up to 1, it went to 0 basically, and they made a save. Now, if I'm Briggs, I might just send everybody here anyway because it's so darn close.
And just pop the SCU and take whatever.
It's still only a 50-50 fight. That is nail-bitingly close by Miller. Extremely good that Miller kept that and held their nerve, but for Briggs, it was tantalizingly close. And the fact is, Miller can't really afford to leave this base. This is a 20-minute, or 7-minute if you have all 3 point base secure.
Game referee, 1 hour remaining in the match in now.
Yep, so that times up things. So, right, while we're watching this fight going on at the Crossroads, I'm just going to bring up some of the 1 hour stats here, just see what's kind of going on. Kill totals, well, we'll just leave that there. Here's our kill graph, so, well, that's not accurate. Now, caveat with stats, Maelstrom did say that the stats might not work because he's trying a new system. He's always breaking it, put it that way. So blame Maelstrom if the stats aren't great. And I'm not sure if those
massively crashed on C. They've taken out all of the Sunders and armor that the NC had brought here. I think they're just going to clock.
Oh, but they're back. Yeah, they're back. Thing is, far too many of them NC are on Charlie. They've just glob-smacked Charlie. Thing is, have they got enough people to stay on A? It's still far too close to. Oh my God, this is painfully close here. Yes, Briggs is doing a great job at coming back, but the Miller's sending too many people on 1 point. They need to hold 2 points and get 3 points, or they need to get armor and push this back. It's, choke them at Snake Ravine or where they're coming. Alright, so
here comes the TR along that bridge. Finally, there's a little bit of air. Oh, he got taken out, but he did a little bit of work while he was trying to stop that TR push along the bridge.
top weapon today, T9 Carve. Second weapon, LA1 Anchor. And the EM6, I guarantee you, is being done by, I know who's using them. They're using, the EM6 may be considered crap, but it's the 200 bullet clip. 167 weapon damage is really, really good in large kind of fight scenarios like this. Because the reloading is the death. It's still close. It's still 30 seconds if all points were taken back by Briggs, and they don't want to give this up. This is the focal point. Look at this. 2+ platoons on Crossroads. It was super close. And that means that the Crown is going to tick down. Far too many people on the Crown, I think, for Miller. Is too much. But Crimson Bluff is ticking down in favour of Briggs. Briggs is doing a counterplay from Mouth Southeast Gate, roughly 50-50 numbers. Miller's actually pushed back to Indar Bay Point, although Briggs is saving it, but it means that Ceres Farm and Highland Solar are safe. So it's close. It's nail biter. Briggs wants Crossroads. Miller doesn't want them to have it. and very high number of populations here. I wonder if they're just going to fall back, because I guess this works in favor of Miller, because alright, the biolab's slowly taking down enough populations. They did try a cap on Botany Wing and Research Lab that's actually preventing it, but they're hacking via the broadcast hub. And the Crown, too many people in the Crown, I think, for a 5-minute base capture.
I'm going to start calling Miller cardiac kids here. You have Crossroads, which is all it takes is
well,
one.
Crown's 2.5, 220 now.
And they're pushing on the Crown. Alatum is falling again. I guarantee you, if I go over there, I'm going to find people on the SCU, and they're going to be trying to secure it through the swamp again. It seems like this is happening over and over and over again. And as a platoon lead, as a force lead, you don't want that happening, because you're going to screw up. Somebody's going to be slow one time. Somebody's not going to get the order, and if it happens over and over and over again, you really run the risk. Miller's been very, very good about managing to pull off these last-second saves, but you got to start wondering when is it going to slip up.
Well, the kill graph isn't technically working around it, but the kill stat numbers are. So assuming this is correct, we're currently on about 18,000 kills, and Briggs is 800 kills up, so they're on about 9,600 compared to 8,800 by Miller. So in terms of kill count, Briggs is a little bit more, which is fair enough. Still bang on 50-50 Crossroads. You have to favour the defenders in 50-50 fights. They are pulling fresh armour again, coming in from the west. To be seen whether or not they can then set up and get the points back. Crucially, Miller's getting some very precious minutes back. The Crimson Bluff is getting closer to a full save now. Looks like this South East Gate cap, the Miller force, whatever they were, has pushed the Briggs attacking force back. The Biolab, back and forth, not really going anywhere. The Vanu Archives is about to be fully saved. That could open up some extra options. In fact, you could get Vanu Archives attack on Snake Ravine and save Crossroads, because you would interdict with a cap. Ender Bay Point, it looks like this, 63% for Miller. You'd have to think that they were working their favour there. So yeah, and Crossroads looks like Briggs abandoned it. Briggs has abandoned it, look at that.
Being massively saved.
So Briggs is going back to the Crown to make a big save, and they've abandoned the Crossroads. In terms of population, it's essentially an abandonment. Actually, we're seeing Miller's Air Force here now for the first time in a while at Crossroads. Or at least I'm seeing it for the first time. It's not necessarily that it hasn't been around. And they're mopping up all the vehicles applying pressure on the Crossroads, and that's going to tick back in favour. So that's good. It will be good for Miller right now is they could actually entirely abandon Crossroads and go for Snake Ravine out Lookout because of the Vanu Archives being fully saved. If they get the cap on Snake Ravine Lookout, if you don't have the points, they can still flip it because the base was still in contention, even though the Snake Ravine cap point's been flipped. Or does it not work like that?
Are you talking Vanu Archives?
Yeah, if Snake Ravine is flipped, i.e. ticking down for Miller, and all 3 points at Crossroads are Miller's as well, because there's still a cap timer in progress and it's not been fully saved, could Briggs then come back and then reflip the points?
So. I believe that Briggs, as long as the base is still in contention and not fully secured.
Okay. Fair enough, right, so we're looking here. It doesn't look like there's any pressure on the Mao Tech plant. Crossroads is going to be saved. Looks like the Crown is now fully taken back, although it's a Crown fight because now the 2+ platoon fight that was at Crossroads has moved to the Crown.
So, our players are definitely enjoying playing on Indar. I just saw orders chat on NC. One single word, all caps with exclamation points. Crown.
Well, there's a lot of harassers for Briggs, being a nuisance, going after Miller's Sunders. I don't see the Sunders mainly because I'm not an NC observer, so maybe you can see it, although they do have Sunders set up on Charlie, okay, and on Bravo set up, they don't have a Sunder, but they've got the capture point with a couple of guys, so that's why it's still ticking down in their favour. So it is the same process of, they've got the lower areas, they've got population advantage at 96+. Now, where are they paying for that? They're losing Crimson Bluff Tower, so they're buying a little bit of time at Crimson Bluff Tower. It's balanced far on the far east. Snake Ravine is ticking down now, small numbers. NS Secure Data, small numbers. But it looks like Briggs is making a save in both areas. Briggs is making a save in the research lab, but there's being harassment. Miller's got more forces at Indar Bay Point, although it doesn't look like it's really ticking down or going anywhere. Maybe due to the nature of the fact that the 2 capture points are in the tower and on the up point, so they really only have one area. So right now, the Air
Force is all over the center, and I still have yet to see, since the opening, a significant amount
SU.
of air.
Crown SU.
Oh, yes.
Oh, but the thing is, they weren't able to hold it. I did see a squad of Miller on the SCU, but they're not able to hold it. It's a cheeky play if they could have pulled it off, and by all means, if you can do that, you do kill the fight pretty much dead, because I don't see any Briggs Thunders. But still, 3.5 minutes for Crown fight. That means with 2 points on 3.5 minutes, it means that 17 minutes is essentially progressed in the timer. They still have the 2 points. Now the Bravo point is tenuous. There's no Sunder as far as I can tell on the Bravo point, so that reinforcement is sketchy. Looks like there is a Briggs Skywhale. Oh, I love the decal, the Skywhale decal. Currently firing on Miller's deployed Sunders on the Charlie point. They only have one Sunder being repaired. Awkwardness. Get a burster max. Shoot down that galaxy. Okay, here we go. So maybe some Miller air reinforcement is going to stop that galaxy from being a nuisance on the Charlie point. But they've got it for now. Oh, with the Alpha point flipping, crucially with the Sunder move up, the Crown is going 60 seconds, and if the A point flips A, sub 60 seconds, we might see the Crown here rapidly flip. Now, Miller made a double 1 second save here on the Crown. In terms of population, they have 54%, 96 plus. Briggs is just under 96 in numbers. 30 seconds to go. What does Briggs do? They can see the huge number of force deployed Sunder as well. That's very important. Now has to ram up and get onto the Alpha point. That's huge. Even if the Briggs forces come in, I don't see the Briggs forces. Alright, they're going for Bravo, but Bravo isn't enough, and they only on vehicles. They don't have infantry. This isn't going to be enough. They need to get outside. And as far as the Charlie point goes, wow, this is huge for Miller. They're going to get the Crown. Crown fight over. Crown done. We win. 1 second. There we go. Now Miller takes the lead in this match, and they get the Crown.
I think that, I mean, that is some just sheer determination and stubbornness. I'll go straight up and say stubbornness by Miller towards that. You and I were both saying, what are you doing still staying here? You're keeping people. Why aren't you resecuring Crossroads? They managed to resecure Crossroads by the skin of their teeth, as they've been resecuring everything by the skin of their teeth, and then redeploy everyone onto the Crown and get it. So I mean, kudos to Miller for sticking to the
This is the meta as it stands right now. Crossroads in 30 seconds is about to be fully secured. The Crown is in Miller hands, and it's still a 96 fight, but without Spawn Sunderers, we might see this number drop off. Now Briggs does have Spawn Sunder reserves. They do have people set up. Looks like they did get Charlie, maybe losing Charlie. They've got a Spawn Sunder set up very nicely in the upper hill area. That's a good position to be to threaten Bravo and Alpha. But all 3 capture points are in hands of Miller, and it gives him fantastic options to attack Alloys, Ceres Hydroponics, and Palisade. Now, crucially, Zervan Storage Yard here for Miller is being attacked via the Crimson Bluff, so it looks like it's still ticking down. They need to make a save. Rust Mesa is ticking down. Miller needs to make a save. And also, Mouth Southeast Gate is ticking down. They need to make a save. So this is a lot of good Briggs pressure on the east, but these are small outposts, technically able to flip back. Also that's going on is if we have a look at Snake Ravine Lookout, this is going back. This will save Vanu Archives and allow...
is right at the rocks. They're just now pushing onto the A point. I don't see enough force multipliers from the NC to try and stop this right now. There's too many ATR coming.
Okay. So that's been pushed off. Now the fact is, what happens next? There's a lot of other important base saves that need to go on. Like, for example, is the Southeast Gate going to be safe? We'll go over there now because Briggs are in 45 seconds. Okay, they got a lot of maxes. Oh, that Air Force is going to make it very hard. Briggs' Air Force is here causing well, or at least elements of it. It's the Bulldogs and the Sunders. Wow, but Miller's actually managed to get himself on the point, perhaps with some light assaults. They've got himself a Sunderer. I don't think that Sunderer can set up. He's being pretty much decimated. Cap point was flipping briefly, but there's a lot of maxes here for Briggs, making it very, very awkward. In terms of population numbers, it's 54%, but it's mainly the force multipliers in terms of the vehicles. And we said that these bases are easy flip back and forth. And okay, so now Briggs takes the lead again. They get Southeast Gate, and theoretically, with that armor and Air Force, abandoned NS offices could be equally messed with. However, the Miller Force could fall back to Howling Pass, get their own at least armor or anti-air or air if they won it, and go, and keep abandoned NS offices secure. So this is probably the way it's going to be stay static at least. They've saved Zervan Storage Yard, although big numbers, platoon plus sizes. Rust Mesa looks like it's been saved. The Crown, the entire population has plummeted now for Briggs. Crossroads entirely safe. Snake Ravine was saved by Briggs taking down. In a secure data stash, that's platoon plus fight that's going on. And Indar Bay Point, very small numbers. So we'll go over now to my waypoint.
Interesting. Zerving Storage Yard should have been resecured by the NC by now, but there is some nice little tucked-in Sunder replacement from the TR right behind A, and just now the NC are finally pulling some vehicles to come deal with that. This is definitely a situation where the population and the way the NC were pushing should have resecured this base already for them, but really good Sunder replacement from Briggs.
Briggs, in terms of any secure data, 2 minutes to go. It's a long 2 minutes. Their one spawn Sunder is being ganked by a Lightning and a deployed Sunder, plus an infantry push. Now, there's enough infantry to keep that Sunder alive, but that infantry then is not helping defend the point, and they're slowly being pushed off the point. Briggs has made it across the bridge, and you'd have to say that Briggs is going to make a save here. Even though it's roughly 50-50 numbers, yeah, they're going to make a safe in security. I don't really see that going anywhere. Miller did try for botany wing. I'm seeing a lot of Briggs Air Force. All the time, I'm seeing Briggs Air Force as a force multiplier. Zervin Storage Yard, as you just said, is still ticking down. We're going to come over there now.
I just watched them resecure. I can't imagine where the hell they came from. I actually left that fight because I thought that...
Some Air Force, no, they're back. Now, Miller's got a deployed Sunder just outside the... Oh, wow, those maxes. The amount of forces that's coming in, no, there's no way. Okay, so they make a save. Big investment to make a save, and also they've got 2 squads in Crimson Bluff. So Miller's got themselves the crown. Now they get Crimson Bluff. If they get Crimson Bluff, it's only small territory, and it's only going to flip one base, but it does secure the remainder, and it means that they could play off Howling Pass, Crimson Bluff, abandoning its offices, and that would totally lock down the entire centre of the base. And then all it's going to come down to is this sheer chaos that's happening out around Alam Botany Wing. There's Biolab, sorry. There's... The thing is, if the Biolab isn't safe, and that's works really well in Briggs' favour, so long as the Biolab is always ticking or 1 point is always in Briggs' favour, it will secure 3 bases. But it's the threat of the Biolab that's making it infinitely difficult, because so many bases are under threat. And because Vanu Archives isn't under cap, or let's say Crossroads, it means that Briggs is playing a defensive game, although they are in the lead. But with 45 minutes to go, it's still super close to see how this is going to go.
I don't know if you're over here at the Zervin area, but we finally see another air pull from Miller, and they're grouping up over the amp station. They are resecuring their points at the crown, and it looks like they might be trying to push the palisade. I think that really you have 2 choices once you own the crown and you're trying to push north. You can push Ceres Hydroponics, you can try and push the palisade. Ceres, I guess you have the benefit of using the rocks of the crown and the guns of the crown to try and help your forces who are on A point. Palisade is, you got to get that good Sunder replacement behind, and that could be good, at least on live. It works well.
Thing is, how chaotic do you want to be? Do you want to go for Palisade? Yeah, that doesn't really secure the crown. It isolates Crimson Buff, but the way the resource system worked, that doesn't matter. If for example, the resource system, if you were in a cut-off territory and you didn't get nanites, then yeah, Palisade is the strategic tactical play to go for, to prevent, to basically bleed off the Crimson Bluff defenders, but that isn't the case. It looks like Miller's making a save and abandoning his offices right now. You can go for Palisade, that's fine. I like the fact the pressure on Crimson Bluff is still going. They're both platoon-sized fights. Palisade gives you an option, but the problem is that Briggs is constantly showing time and time again Air Force. They are using their Air Force. And in fact, just go over the Palisade right now and look at the Air Force. There are Liberators, Galaxies, and tons of Mosquitoes. So they, air-wise, Briggs has got the air, and actually I have no idea where Miller's 24 people are. Maybe they're inside and I'm not seeing it on the minimap? Yeah, okay, so they're inside, perhaps. Yeah, so you got a squad or 2 of Miller inside the capture buildings, but the capture point's outside, and therein lies the problem. If you had a strong Air Force, you could probably go for Palisade quite safely. It doesn't really matter right now because the crown is being at least 2 points in the hands of Briggs.
Yeah, they're all 3 points tacked. And this is the problem with any of these large bases, is whatever Miller was attempting to do to push out, they didn't leave enough people here to secure all the points. And there was a small squad that hacked out some Sunders. They have a Sunderer over by A. Miller has to come and resecure their base now.
Yeah, and then so in terms of population, it's roughly... Miller's actually... They've bypassed the Bannon's F-Soft and they've gone back to Southeast Gate. They've done it once. Maybe they'll do it again. Probably they will. Crimson Bluff, though, big numbers. 48 to 96. Forcing the Crimson Bluff save. Now, that could be that... Because if you look over to the west, Ceres Farms, Highland Solar, Vanu Archives... all ticking down, being aggressive. So the momentum of the fight is shifted from Miller being on the offensive to now being on the defensive. The crown, even though they've got population, is still a defensive fight for the time being. Crimson Bluff is about to be fully saved, and we can already see that there's a squad at Innis Material Storage, a squad at Rust Mesa, and they don't really have anyone more than one person at the Zervan Storage Yard, and Miller, they've already been redeployed against at Mouth Southeast Gate, so we'll go have a look at that while we're waiting to see how this fight develops.
While I was just mentioning that crown thing, this is exactly what happened. The NC tried to move down to Ceres Hydroponics, but they were too slow, or they didn't leave enough people back to stop people at the crown, and all 3 points at the crown were ticking down, which means that you have half a platoon sitting at Ceres that can't do anything until the crown is resecured. Now, they have resecured it. They're slowly pushing down to C and trying to stop this, but this is just a delaying tactic. All it requires is a couple of people flipping those points, and you can't move forward.
Now, more force multipliers, again, used by Briggs when they get to a base and they're attacking. They got a lot of Sunders, they got Galaxies, and they got Mosquitoes. I see one Reaver downing a one Mosquito, but I don't see anything more than that, at least in my mini. But alright, here comes some Galaxy, perhaps some reinforcements. Is he going to ram? Or is he just going to drop on reinforcements? Squad drop, 2 guys maybe on the point. Let's see if we're going to have some whale war here. The thing is, the TR's got 2 minutes to go. They still have population advantage. Alright, it's 50-50 now. Ceres Farm, very small numbers. In fact, you'd think Miller would be able to save that due to the numbers that are going on there. And the Galaxy goes down there for the Miller force. And the spawn room's been just camped. There's no teleporters on Indar on certain bases, so you all have to come out one area. And I don't see how Miller's going to push out here, simply because it's awkward angles. Maybe some light assaults, but the cap point's fairly exposed. It's going to need more forces. The Ceres Farm looks like it's been saved. Yep, Vanna Archives looks like it's been fully saved. The fact is, the defending force of Vanna Archives should come to Highland Solar, because Vanna Archives is like a 7-minute base cap. You need to come back to Highland Solar and make a save here. It looks like they've got a small harassment at Botany Wing. Tia Alloys, you're right, they're making a play. Oh wow, big play in the center. Palisades, Ceres, and Tia Alloys. Big play by Miller in the center. But the thing is that they need to make a save if they can with the forces that they've got Vanu Archives. Perhaps make a play to save Solar, or I don't know, because they're guaranteeably sacrificing Highland Solar, and they're nowhere near close to capturing the 3 bases in the center surrounding the crown. And you've even got 12-24 in the crown not being that great. So they're small cap going at Crossroads, that's a nuisance. Zervan Storage Area, Rust Mesa Outlook, and Innis Material Storage. 6 bases all in the center between Crimson Bluff and the crown. Who's going to play chicken first and go back and make a save?
I have to say, regardless of who wins this match, I want Alatum Biolab to stay the way it is, because what better way to end an Indar server smash than a cut-off Alatum Biolab that nobody's ever managed to take after it was flipped from neutral.
Okay, and so Highland Solans finally falls now to Briggs, threatens Ayani Labs. Maybe that attacking force goes back. Well, actually, it's 2 platoon plus sizes. So yes, so the force from Vanu Archives did go to Highland Solar. But look at this air force for Briggs. It is still here. It is moving around. It is a force multiplier. It is just being dominant. Now, and Crossroads is a long base capture. Doesn't really matter too much. Zervan Storage has been saved. Rust Mesa has been saved. Innis Material Storage has been saved. Miller needs to make a save and abandon NS offices. There's but 2 squads plus for Miller being there. But crucially, Ceres Hydroponics has been saved by Briggs. Tia Alloys is balancing out. That leaves Palisade as the only base that theoretically is still going to tick down in the next 2 minutes. As we're here, we don't see Briggs Air Force. Perhaps there's too many fires to put out for the Briggs Air Force.
Briggs Air Force is currently at Alatum Botany Wing right now. They are
the 60-second there. Yep, we'll come over there.
And it's not the entirety of the Air Force. This is probably...
They're just splitting up and drifting around. 45 seconds to go, no spawns, no Sundras, it's got up by all inside works. The actual numbers in here, it's only like 1 squad. And it's not even a max. You just need a concerted infantry push here by Briggs. Here they come on the western side. The max is going to make the difference, although he's a fracture max? Okay, never mind, I take that back, he's useless. It's going to be the infantry now. The Mars EMP grenade on the turret makes it useless. And they're pushing up both sides. 22 seconds to go. Close by Briggs, Miller. Maybe they had more people, but it looks like the main plays are in the center. Ceres Hydro back and forth, not going anywhere. Hydroponics looks like it's being... Tia Alloys looks like it's being saved. Hydroponics is now ticking down again for Miller, but it's a 3-minute base cap. It's Palisade that's the next big play. Briggs is currently 2 bases... Oh! There we go. Briggs is still 2 bases ahead, but the fact is, these bases flip so fast and are so theoretically easy to pull off. Now we see that Miller has got a deployed Sunder, but the Briggs Air Force is here, picked it off. In terms of base capture time, is an external base capture. The Air Force could really dominate in this, and we can see it's incoming already. Yeah, so 1 base save, here comes another base save, 45 seconds to go. Infantry is coming across the bridge. Miller needs to keep people outside to keep that theirs, and therein lies the issue. If it was an internal capture point, this would be fine, but it's not, it's external. They've been called back to the capture point. Oh god, it's the same Air Force, and it's just ripping them apart.
I literally watched them fly from over top the crown. They actually chased an NC Galaxy and blew it up as it was coming here to try and reinforce their guy.
Now, point in here is there's not enough infantry. They're still coming in, but the Miller force is still alive. They're on the point with 8 seconds, being reavered to hell, and some TR forces are getting to the point. This might flip on the 1 second marker.
1 second.
Wow, there you go. So Cons takes it. Dominant outfit. They get Palisade. The amount of domination here by the Air Force. Oh wait, is this... No, I was going to say, did I see some Miller Air Force? No, I see a Galaxy, so some Sky Whales being a nuisance. And the Air Force leaves instantly. They've lost the base, and then the Briggs Air Force are all surrounded. Oh, I tell a lie. Sorry, there is a Briggs... Miller Air Force is here. They are fighting on the Palisade, so there is direct confrontation now to Briggs' Air Force. They're pushing it away, and this is just absolute, not carnage, but Briggs is here, Miller's now here, and Miller says it's our base, get lost. Expletive deletive.
That was, I mean, kudos to the NC forces on that point. They were getting absolutely hammered by air, and at the last possible second, the Air Force that we have not seen for this entire match, practically, Miller,
at least on stream, yeah, comes up and makes the play. But the fact is, they are being attacked by Palisade. There is a high Galaxy providing reinforcements. There's about 2 squads. Actually, there's probably more. It's very hard to see what's on the ground, but it's roughly 2 squads on Palisade capture point. But, crucially, they have the point, and they've got 4 minutes to get it back, and they have an Air Force. With the rest of the map, Zervan Storage Yard under attack. Rust Mesa being saved. NS Storage Line not fine. Abandoned NS Office is being saved. Crimson Bluff
is destroyed at Crossroads Watchtower. The SCU is completely destroyed.
Oh, they're going to lose this? Oh, wow, this is big. Because I'm going to say Crimson Bluff is like a very important for Briggs. But you're right. 2 points are in the hands of Miller. Does Miller... They can repair the vehicle pad. They have a vehicle pad. They need a Sunderer.
They've
got the Charlie and Bravo points.
Entire squad of dead NC, but they managed to get 1 single.
They need an engineer to get to the SU. Yeah, so engineers here, 3 engineers, 4 engineers. Sorry, the SU is being repaired. So it's
Give me a heart attack.
it's still a long base capture on the crossroads though. So although it was close and tenuous, the thing is, Palisade is big. Brig wants Palisade back. It's still 1 base advantage here. Oh wait, I take that back. It's going to be a 2 base advantage because Ayani Labs, even though that Miller has population advantage. It's 20 seconds. Oh my goodness, no. Miller makes a save in the 20-second marker, so they get Ayani Labs saved, but still 3.5 minutes back to safe. 50-50 numbers now at Ceres Farms. This is going on all over the map. This is chaos. 90 seconds to go until... Okay, so Miller's coming in with a Galaxy reinforcement, drop on the top of the capture point. There's a lot of Briggs though inside the capture point of the double building.
Farah, got a present for you.
Stats working?
Stats are working, and they're actually more optimised now, so it won't lag you out as much. So can you please refresh? Your kill graph is now working as well.
Can I get my map timeline?
Yes, it should be working.
Same old story at the biolab. All points were captured. The SCU was ticking, and the NC have actually gotten a little bit better about their recent years. They're coming back here quicker, and they're pushing them out. I still don't understand why Briggs is not over in the jungle. Every time I come back over here, it's the NC pushing to the jungle, and there's never enough TR over there to stop them.
Well, we're sub 60 seconds, and Miller's beginning to spawn in now. So perhaps the thing is, well, they still have forces at Yanni Labs unless the population counter isn't catching up. Now they're also at Ceres Fires. That armor pool, is that an overreaction? Look at the number of Vanguards and Lightnings at Ceres Farms. What's this going to do? There's no spawn Sundras. There's all infantry inside the base. I wonder if that was a resource. Like, a Vanguard is the same cost as, like, a Max. Well, okay, they're on the point, they're flipping it, and the numbers they've got, that's got to be a save. Ayani Labs could be counter-pushed, but it doesn't look like at the moment. Crossroads is being saved. Oh, Zervan Storage Yard is going to go through, though. I think Briggs is going to take it.
Yeah, there's not enough, and they don't even have a Sunder here. This was all, it's, I guess they had to at some point because there's Maxes down there, but it was all...
and Miller didn't even get himself a backup Sunder, so Briggs goes back up to a 2-base advantage. Palisade still ticking down 2 minutes, and this all comes down to Crimson Bluff Tower, because they have this absolute, thorn in Miller's side. Crimson Bluff Tower is to Miller to what a Latin Biolab is to Briggs, except the Biolab in theory can be captured quicker. So from Miller's perspective, you've got a couple of options. You need to make a save on the Palisade, which they still don't have population to do, although they are taking the point back. They're outnumbered 2-1. They need to... They can't allow the attack going Zervan Amp Station, because Zervan Amp, if I have a look here, is a 3-pointer. Yeah, it's actually a fast, and it's the external one as well. The Air Force could make a play there. So they did get the capture point back at Zervan Storage Yard. They are, that means that the forces, there's a couple of Briggs forces at Zervan on waiting for the cap point. That's not going to happen. Whether or not they can hold that, we can see Briggs is pulling out Sunder's deployment. There's no backup from Miller.
Deployment from Galaxies on the Palisade. Huge push here on the Palisade from Briggs.
So they want the Palisade back instantly. And what's Miller going to do? Yes, they've got the hard spawn from the spawn room, but look at these maxes. Wait, there's an SCU?
There is an SCU here, yes. I don't.
It's not ticking down. It's compromised but not ticking. Sorry, yeah, because of the timer. Some of the experiments they did. Are they just gonna... Oh, they're playing for the spawn room. Yeah. In fact, I think that's it possibly ticking down now.
Oh, they got one on.
29 seconds. Wow. This is not going to get Miller to deploy, so they're going to get Palisade back. It's going to be a 3-base workout. Well, I tell you what, the fact is, Miller's done a good job on the east, but Briggs is doing an extremely good job in the center. They're still 2 bases up. TI Alloys is a small force taken down. Crossroads is about to be saved. Vanu Archives is about to be saved. That might give them some fresh options. Ayani Labs is being saved. Ceres Farm is being saved. There's too many people. Look at this. Huge population at Ceres Farms and Ayani Labs. Unless they're intending to attack Highland Solar, even then it's an overcommittal of population. Those forces that's currently making a save on Ceres Farms could really be using Palisade, and it's not. And we can see that the SU's been destroyed and the spawn room is now totally open. That's it. So even though it's 45 seconds to go, there will be no final save by Miller unless they do some crazy galaxy pull. And if anything, Miller wants to think about Zervan Storage Yard at the moment and perhaps getting some harassment back on Crimson Bluff. Maybe they can go for Southeast Gate again. But
a significant number of Skyguards pulled from the TR out of Crimson Bluff to try and chase off the air that was defending Zervan. And now I wonder if they're going to bring their own Air Force in here.
Master 26 on all call, 29 minutes 48 remaining on the match.
Okay, so looks like Briggs, even though they're cut off, they're going to make a save, or try and make a save on Zervan Storage Yard, which looks like it's the case. They're going to get Palisade for free because even though Miller might be making some kind of desperate galaxy drops, I don't... No, that's it. Oh, I got directive update. Yeah, so... it's too late, and it's a scatter drop as well. That was a very kind of desperate, quick reaction drop on Palisade. Close. It looks like Miller is making a play for Mouth Southeast Gate again, due to the timing. Look at the center. T-Alloys is being saved, but Snake Ravine, Secure Data... okay, there was possibly a cap going to broadcast. Research has been saved and broadcast isn't going anywhere. So 2 caps going on for Secure Data Lab and Ravine. Ayani Labs is actually working in favor of Briggs at the moment in terms of cap, but there's 50-50 population numbers, so we're going to go over there.
Something Miller was attempting to do with their push out of the Crown, and it seemed to work only at one base. They weren't able to keep the momentum up. So if you hold something like the Crown or Crimson Bluff, and you have multiple areas to attack out with, you divide your forces up evenly trying to push out there. And you're not going to get all 3 of them. You already know that. As they push you out of those other bases, you start collapsing your forces onto the one that they haven't pushed onto. So eventually, your enemy decides where you're going to finally make your last stand. If they choose wrong, like a Palisade, that's how you get Palisade. And Miller was very good about doing that. They pushed out to Ceres, they pushed out to TI Alloys, they got kicked out of both of those, and they dumped everyone on Palisade. What they weren't able to do was do the base resecure after capture. As soon as they captured the base, their Air Force chased off Briggs Air Force, and immediately TR was back on the point, and they were also attacking Zervan Storage Yard at that time. Miller needs to get better at being able to do that, put the fingers out and then collapse all the forces on.
All right, so What I want you to do now, some people might be saying I'm biased, but you're probably true. I want you to play the Briggs guy. Be super happy to Briggs, because clearly I can't stop myself from picking up Miller.
Well, speaking of Briggs, Briggs is...
They're doing a good job at Zervan Amp. They're pushing it down.
Station, and this is a huge, huge danger now. 1 minute, 41 seconds. They own all 3 bases, all three capture points. Miller has to respond to this. This is... You cannot let this base fall. It is deep inside your territory, and frankly, this entire open area with a slope down from Crimson Bluff Tower allows them to control the entire valley. We saw that with their Sky Guards. If they stick some lockdown prowlers up there, they can snipe anything in this entire valley and get 3 or 4 bases.
Yeah, so I'm looking here currently at Zervan Amp Station, and you're right, they've got all 3 points, and that's also hard spawns. That makes it extra tricky. You can see Miller forces trying to maybe... Oh, look at the deployed Sunder that they've got on the Bravo point. They can actually get in the deployed Sunder and Bravo. That is for Briggs, so that's good. And even though that Miller's perhaps surrounding the B, the fact is it's easy respawns right on the point. The Charlie point looks like it's possibly flipping in terms of Miller. Alpha point is in the hands of Briggs. Crimson Bluff is ticking down, so that's good for Miller at there because it just keeps Rust Mesa and Insecure storage safe. Palisade, you're right, 2 minutes 45. I'm not sure if that'll go anywhere though. Abandoned Innocence Offices was being attacked. They've got population there. Looks like Palisade's also been saved. The TLI's cap has been saved. The Snake Ravine Lookout has been saved. Problem with NS Secure Data, it's a really exposed place to be to cap. It's very, very hard. And the fact is you need the Biolab fully safe with all points saved before you can push off to a base. Also very hard. There's a very large population of Miller currently at Ayani Labs. What are they going to do next? They go to Vanu Archives, make a save there. Do they go for Highland Solar? Because for Briggs' perspective, hold the line, it's a 3-base flip. There's, Miller needs 3 bases to make this work and to win, right? But 3 bases could go in 4 minutes. It's such a close game. It's not limited in one base after another.
I really want to see Miller start trying to push NS Secure Data Lab. They have not made a massive push like they did for the Palisade over there yet, and they could help themselves so much. They could take research, they could push over into a Bar Southgate. They keep on attacking the southern lane. They keep on trying to resecure their biolab. They have not really made a concerted effort for that data lab. Meanwhile, Briggs is finally, it's late enough in the match that they are using Crimson Bluff Tower to their advantage. They're trying to push for Zervan. If they manage to get Zervan with another push here, they own 2 incredibly powerful bases in the center, and you can look at all those bases down to the south. Zervan Network Complex, Rust Mesa, all of those things. You can just imagine, especially with the Air Force they have, how difficult it's going to be to defend those bases from Miller.
Yeah. Well, if Miller's going to do something, they need to do it relatively soon. And if Briggs is going to do something, I mean, you could snowball it away. You could apply pressure if you're... The thing is, if you're Briggs, right, do you just hold what you have and play the defensive game? Because you're 3 bases up. So in that respect, it's not 1 for 1. You don't need to play for extra territory, right? I mean, so...
I think that what they've done is they're pushing for Zervan. They've decided Zervan wins them the match. There's no possible way. If you can get Zervan and still manage to hold on to everything you have, it's really, really going to be difficult for Miller.
Right. The thing is, from Miller's perspective now, the fact is Highland Solar Station is ticking down. So Miller could theoretically take Highland Solar Station in terms of an easy base, easier because it's small territory. Mouth Southeast Gate, we've seen it happen again, although I'm not sure they'll be able to pull something off like that again. Theoretically, Crimson Bluff Tower is ticking down, all 3 points, 3 minutes to go. You're right in that there's a big play currently for Zervan, 50-50 numbers, 3 minutes to go. With the hard spawn nature of the base, the Charlie point is in the hands of Miller, but Briggs is doing a good job at having an Alpha and Bravo. So yeah, Biolab still 50-50, ticking down. Vanu Archives still ticking down. Just delaying that. Ceres Farm is ticking down, prevents Indar Bay Point. And it looks like Highland Solar Station is going back. So yeah, so there's a big play for Zervan Amp Station by Briggs, but it's also kind of damage control mode. You've got a lead, you're pushing it on one area, that's all you really need to do. And then the rest of Briggs needs to do is just then hold on to what they've got, and they will win this.
And the thing is that these new style lamp stations are probably the most attacker-friendly bases in the game. We see this every single time we go play on the new Esamir map, where the
Freyr on Esamir, yeah,
flips back and forth and back and forth. That's the hallmark of an attacker-friendly base. It's very difficult to defend. It's very difficult to get your...
You can fly your Air Force all over the points as well. I mean, just look at the base and we see nothing but Briggs Air Force and vehicles. 2 minutes to go until they capture Zervan. Now, conversely, Crimson Bluff is 2 minutes and 14 seconds. But that is a... Oh, wait, that's Crown. Where did I go? I want to go over here. All 3 points, sub 2 minutes. Now you're playing chicken. Is there... There's no SCU. Oh my goodness. If there was an SCU at Crimson Bluff, it would already be Miller's. But it's not, and Briggs are beginning to come in, and getting the A point just stalls it for so long. And therein lies the threat. If Miller loses their third capture point reserve and amp station, it becomes almost instantaneous.
With about 90 seconds left in Alton Biolab, the SCU is being tripped by the TR. There's not very many of them here. It would not take that much to resecure it, but again, 90 seconds, and we have to see this resecure happen yet again from the NC. I wonder if this Alatum lane is going to become like the Ymir lane. I mean, everyone loves Alatum about it Indar. It's always the thing, oh, I spent all day at Alatum. I wonder if they're going to feel the same way after spending all ServerSmash at Alatum.
Well, it looks like Briggs now is making a good save on the Crimson Bluff Tower. And the thing is that they're stalling it out. They've got the points, and at the same time, the numbers are growing at Zervan Amp Station. This is where it's at, and also the Biolab is sub 2 minutes 30. So I think in this last 20 minutes, it's rather than Miller ramping up the pressure, it seems like Briggs is really ramping up the pressure here, and it kind of stems from the inability to hold Crimson Bluff or just stall it out, and then the fact that they lost Server Storage allowed the Amp Station. I mean. Palisade. 7 seconds till this SCU blows at Alatum, and they do not have the people spawning in here that they used to. That doesn't matter because of the hard spawns, the points. Everyone's going to still spawn at... The SCU is destroyed at Alatum Biolab. I'm trying to see where Miller can come in from. No, the hard spawns, they can still spawn. They can't spawn in the center, but they can still... Oh wait, that's a different Biolab, sorry. No, yeah, I was right. Yeah, there are 3 hard spawns, and then you have the central spawn room. So Miller can still spawn, so long as they hold on to the Bravo capture point. Or they get the Charlie one back. Briggs, however, just needs to throttle all 3 capture points, which they're doing a really good job of, and it looks like Briggs is actually going to get this. They're going to take the base, and Miller, without air control, without vehicle control, they have no Sunders. It's going to be sub 10 seconds now. Even if Miller does control the Charlie point, they don't have anybody on the Bravo and Alpha. And is this it? There we go. Briggs takes Zervan Amp Station, and it gives them now a good set of options. They can go to Zervan Network Complex, and they can go to Zervan Pump Station and bypass the Crown. Crimson Bluff is ticking down. Palisade is a big play pluffing down. Small play for Ceres Hydroponics. 2 minutes.
In incredible danger here. No SCU. They only hold 1 point. The only way that Miller can spawn in here is through a Sunder underneath, or perhaps parked at the air pads. They are trying to get their SCU back up. Just actually walking into lockdown maxes, just murdering people as they come through. They are managing to get another point. No, they tried flipping that.
Oh, you're right. The problem is there's no spawn-in option, so the Biolab may now actually fall, and this could be the nail in the coffin, because we're actually up to a 4-base flip now with Zervan. Both in the Zervan Network Complex and Pump Station are ticking down. Crimson Bluff remarkably went back under a 2-minute base capture, but there's such a redeployment of Briggs forces, I don't see it going through. Palisade, Miller's playing a big play for Palisade at the moment. They've got a lot of numbers going in there, but at what cost? It looks like they're going to lose the Biolab, and, well, we're going to say here...
This is what I talked about. I mean, it takes... How many times can you do it? How many times can you let them blow the SCU and do the last second save? And there were too many other fires burning for Miller at the time. It wasn't that Miller was slow redeploying here. It's that they couldn't redeploy here. They had other things to deal with, and because of that, they're going to lose their Biolab.
And that is also bad because Miller was probably counting the fact that they had a large number of links. Now it's considerably condensed the number of contestable bases. We're down to Palisade, which has been redeployed on... Yeah, look, the entire force from Briggs has gone back to Palisade. Crimson Bluff, bizarrely, still ticking down. But they've balanced up Palisade, so they're making a save there. Snake Ravine is ticking down, this force is there. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not over. This is bad that the... Biolab's gone down, and it's bad in terms for Miller because the number of connectable bases they have is down, but this is also very, very good for Briggs. I mean, Briggs has got themselves. They're basically homogenizing their front line, meaning there are fewer and fewer bases that can be contested. Now, Mouth Southeast Gate's ticking down. That's important because that's one base. Crimson Bluff was getting close, but I really don't see Briggs giving that away. Palisade is still ticking down. That's base number 2, so Briggs needs to make a save there. Snake Ravine is base number 3, so even if Miller was to get all these bases, they'd still need to save Zervan Pump Station, and they'd still be one base down. Wow, Crimson Bluff is still technically going back and forth, still small numbers. There's a lot of stuff going on in a lot of places, but Miller really needs to pull the cat out of the bag here if they want to make a win, and Briggs just needs to ride it out, play the redeployment side, and they'll get it, and they'll make a save, and they'll win the game.
I am, regardless of, as I said, who won, I'm sad that Allerton fell. I really wanted Allerton to remain the one cut-off territory, just like it does on live, where, you know, nothing, there's no connection to it whatsoever, there's just people fighting at it. With population advantage, Miller is also losing Zervan Pump Station. They have 56% there, and it's still falling to Briggs. I'm heading over there right now.
Yeah, so the Palisade was fully saved. The last spawn Sunders, and they got a couple of burster maxes trying to keep the Air Force off. And again, it always comes down to the Briggs' Air Force. And so the Palisade is now saved. This Mouth Southeast Gate, they've still got 54%. They could flip that base in their favour, if I can actually find the base. There we go.
Something I have seen that Briggs is excellent at, that I have not seen the same from Miller, is getting spawn sunders in attack. I haven't so much seen it for defense for Briggs, but Briggs is excellent about putting spawn sunders somewhere. They don't. I don't know whether one got blown up here, but they don't seem to have one at Zervan Pump Station. But there's not a defensive sunder pulled for Miller.
And it looks like the outfit, which will not be named, has maxes on this upper platform, and although they are surrounded on all sides, 14 seconds to go. They might lose it here with this push up this main staircase. In fact, this is probably enough. They need a res grenade for the rest. Briggs is doing an extremely good job here coming up, but they got 5 seconds to go. There, this is going to be it. This is going to be enough people. They got more bodies on the point. There you go. Make it safe.
Zervan Pump Station falls to Briggs.
Yeah, there you go. So that's well done by Briggs. Oh, Miller lost the cap. No, that's not what I'm saying. So well done, Briggs. It's great. They're playing exactly what they need to. Save the Palisade. Save Maui Southeast Gate. But the play is now moved back to Crimson Bluff Tower. Now, can Briggs make a save here? Because it's all about damage control at the moment. 15 minutes to go. Briggs needs to save this because it kind of closes down a number of options and it opens up options for Miller if they get it back. So, what do we see? Bravo point is in the hands of Miller. But that's it. The Charlie point is finally gotten hold back by Briggs, so they're on C. Fair dues.
It's game referee and all call. 15 minutes left in the match in now.
That's excellent English.
With 15 minutes, you have to think that with what we've been seeing happen with these large facilities, if you started your attack on the Crown right now, it wouldn't go through. If you start an attack on Indar Bay Point right now, it wouldn't go through. So
Ceres Hydroponics gone through because they can't spawn in. There's actually an SCU in this base. So it's interesting how certain SCU mechanics play in. So just like we saw with Palisade previously when Briggs took it, Miller is going to get Ceres Hydroponics unless the Air Force of Briggs turns up. And it looks like they're preoccupied further to the east with Crimson Bluff. So that is one base in favour of Miller, but it's still a lot of work.
And Miller needs to use that to their advantage. As soon as they get that base, they need to be attacking Seabed and Galaxy Solar. And I'm trying to see, there's nobody over at Seabed yet. They maybe have somebody over at Galaxy Solar. This leapfrog needs to be happening instantly. You need to grab as much territory as you can. And you can see it gives you a great access. You have Seabed, you have Dahaka, you have Galaxy Solar, Briggs Laboratories, places that are fairly easy to attack. That's Miller's savior.
Yeah.
If they
thing is, with 4 minutes, Briggs can just play whack-a-mole. Save a base and get it under. See, when you get that 4-minute timer, that's what Briggs is playing for. They're playing for the 4-minute timer because when they get there, it's the number of bases that can come under just radically reduces. So we can see that Snake Ravine was ticking down, but there's such a high population for Briggs, it's good in their favour. In a secure data, Miller has population, but the nature of the base makes it very hard for it to capture them, so that's also in Briggs' favour. Miller is also playing big time for Highland Solar, which is a kind of a floozy base that goes back and forth. It's easy to capture. That is definitely one that Miller might be able to capture, and Briggs perhaps needs to pay more attention to. Briggs is doing a small diversionary capture perhaps with a squad on Ceres Farms. Ceres Hydroponics, sorry, did not go through on the last second. Oh wait, it did go through, but the SCU is dead. There's no spawn Sundra. So very good for Miller that they got it, very bad for Briggs that they lost it, but conversely, very good for Briggs in that, oh wait, no, there was an engineer waiting at the SU. The SU's been saved. The Briggs Air Force is here. They're going to dominate the outside capture point. I mean, unless Miller gets people immediately in Galaxy Solar and Seabed Listening Post, which looks like they're already being pre-defended, I don't see it going anywhere. We're not sub 4 minutes either. Crimson Bluff actually is re-ticking down again. I suppose in terms of bases that Miller can get, Crimson Bluff bizarrely is now becoming one of them. And as far as Briggs is concerned, they need to make a save here. They got to stamp this out and force it closed, because it draws. Miller's still a long way away though to make a save, and this is good for Briggs because they've got a huge lead. It's fantastic for them to keep their unbroken record. Can you check out Highland Solar for me?
Yeah, there is a large max crash grouping up at Ceres Hydroponics. I want to see if that makes it through. I'm heading over back to
NC1?
Far western side. Yes, an NC max crash was setting up over there. I'm headed to Highland Solar right now. A large NC force mostly came in through galaxies. See, this is something. Okay, finally, there's a spawn sunder that's set up. I'm trying to find it. Yeah. So there is a sunder here. Maybe not the best location for it. Not a terrible one for Miller. With 90 seconds left to go on this, but there are Vulcan harassers running around. I can't see them, but I can certainly hear them, and that's got to be a real danger for these spawn sunders. Oh, here they come! It's like a pack of raptors. Oh, and only one of them's a Vulcan. The other two are Halberd.
Well, Briggs has got themselves Charlie Point back, and that basically stalls the cap time, which is really what they're interested in. In terms of Ceres Hydro, yep, they've got the point back. Briggs is doing a good job of retaking this back. Their Air Force has been absolutely ruthless. Now, Miller doesn't have an Air Force, and this is where it's really important on Indar, because Briggs has the spawn sundra, and the no deployment field is super awkward when it comes to Ceres Hydroponics, because you can get a Sundra behind the ammo tower, but if you don't own the Crown, then the Crown AV turrets can fire down on it. In terms of exposedness, look at the Sundra, it can be picked off in so many different directions in terms of vehicles, but with air control, Miller isn't able to get out, Briggs is able to hold the outside ground, and now Briggs is able to spawn in without being molested. Now they did get the capture point back by Miller, but at what cost? They had to overpop here at 70%. That means they've probably lost the population advantage they had at Crimson Bluff Tower. Miller did get sort of winded. Alright, so Miller got Mouth Southeast Skate, and it looks like they're being attacked, and it's ticking down, but it's only just started for the last minute. Miller is trying to get Tia Alloys. I think no, it's being saved. Okay. NS Secure Data has been saved. Highland Solar, 14 seconds. Let's have a look.
Network complex, which we weren't even paying
Game
attention
referee and
to,
all
just
call.
fell
10 minutes
for
left in the
Briggs.
match. Now.
Highland Solar looks like it'll go through, maybe. I'm not over there right now, so I can't see. I'm just looking at the timer.
It will. I think it will. There's a big redeployment, but it's 1 second too late. Looks like Orbs would be the play there. So, Miller has managed to claw back Highland Solar. They're making a save in Ceres Hydroponics. Vanu Archives is safe. Crossroads is being messed with, but it's a long cap. Zervan Pump Station, which we totally missed, you're correct, is the attack there is now ticking back down. Crimson Bluff is ticking back down. Tia Alloys, I think, is stationary, not going anywhere. Miller's making a save in Southeast Gate. So right now, with sub 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go, Briggs is on, well, on our stats at least, it's 52 to 44.
So you know the place where you camp the Canyon Warp Gate, right? Guess what Briggs is doing? They only have 2 burster maxes here. They're all alone, but they're trying to camp. Oh wait, no, what the heck are they doing? One of them's not a burster max. There are these two little lone maxes by a tree. I don't even understand. I just happen to fly past them.
And so Briggs redeployed on Highland Solar Station, and this is what's awkward. There's extra reinforcements from Miller that can come from Ceres to Highland Solar, but lots of vehicles, sunders, and reinforcements for the attacking force on the capture point are coming in from Indar Bay Point. It's very good now by Briggs. So it's to be seen, because they got a lot of air control, they've got vehicle control, and then they have spawns, and sub 2 minutes 30. It's a big ask because of the nature of the base and how easy it is to take back, especially when you don't have vehicle control, for Miller to take back Highland Solar. Now, in terms of the rest of the base, Zervan Pump is actually going down sub 60 seconds, so that's going to go first. We'll have a look at that. Galaxy over top, second Galaxy over top. Looks like we're having some ramming whale wars going on between Briggs and... Oh, but the number of forces they've got in this double building is incredible. I don't see enough tier ground forces to make a difference. And they're even pulling more forces in. They're making it happen. 2+ platoons. They're really, really playing for it. Now they need to go back to Ceres Hydroponics. Miller and Briggs has got a free, unmolested cap going at Ceres Hydroponics, so that's great for them. I don't see Briggs being able to make a save here, so Miller's going to get this base.
This is a race for bases now because Briggs is
old stockpile.
And this is not just 2 lone maxes. There is an entire group of people who are up at the usual camping spot at Old Araxium Mines trying to camp the warp gate. I don't know whether they're doing this just because they feel so secure of being in the lead or whether they're actually trying to prevent people from getting to Old Stockpile. But at this point, Briggs is basically just YOLOing for the Eastern Warp Gate.
Game referee and I'll call 7 minutes remaining now.
So at 7 minutes, no large facilities can cap. Not that, well, I guess they have not started attacking Mao Tech Plant, but even if they wanted to at this point, it would not go through, even if they were uncontested.
Well, the next basis of interest is Highland Solar Station, mainly because that's got sub 6 seconds to go, and Briggs has got such a commanding presence on the outskirts of the base.
If I'm Miller, I think you have to start looking at ServerNamp Station. You can get it quickly, you can pile a lot of people on it, and you can help yourself get some of this territory back. It is a significant problem down there, and if you can grab it in 3 minutes...
Oh, wow.
Technically gives you enough time to go...
Briggs has got a Sundra on the point. Miller's pulling in maxes, and this is their big push. 40 seconds to go, and they're pushing to the point, charged onto the Sundra. Sundra's got very little health. I don't see many Briggs forces left. Oh, wow! The Briggs Sundra just road-killed a whole bunch of Miller, but it's down. That was extremely nice. 25 seconds to go. Now they have forces on the point, but it's contested. I wonder if there's perhaps an infiltrator or some people know. Point. Oh, it's the guys on the back. Still going down. This is super close. Miller needs to run the point, and Briggs needs to throw all the bodies they have. They might actually get this with 11 seconds. It's Res Grenade Wars, and I don't see anything, so I'm going to gamble here. There you go.
0 second resecure.
That was close. It's still going on with Res Nade Wars. It looks like Miller's probably got the save in. Close, but it looks like... I don't see how Briggs can make a res with half health and get out of that.
Miller has resecured the old stockpile as we speak, and their air force is slowly moving north. Unfortunately, they lost the ability to attack Zervan Amp Station. They got back-capped pump behind them, and this is not good. I mean, if they were trying to jump ahead and move forward into easy cap bases, they got back-capped behind themselves.
What? Alright, so the tech plant is stupid. Why are they attacking the tech plant? With 4 minutes 46 left on the alert, they cannot capture the tech plant. That is stupid by Miller. I know they're going for it, but those 2 squads could be used elsewhere. That serves no purpose. We're actually 4 minutes 30. We're at the point now where unless bases are under flipping, then this is it. And this is going to totally play into Briggs' hands here, because Ceres Hydroponics has a lot of population. Miller, from a perspective of Miller trying to win, oh wow, sorry, take that back. Highland Solar Station, 10 seconds. Miller left far too early, and the point's going to go through. There's nobody there. This will be the nail in the coffin if Miller doesn't get back, and Briggs is... They're going to win the game right here if they get this. And that's it. So, too early of a pullout by Miller.
4 minutes remaining now.
We'll look at the bases that are under contention. And are any of Briggs' games under contention? No. So Briggs wins. It's simply that none of the small outposts are under contention, and there are not enough of them. Now, if they were, hypothetically, a number of small bases under contention, Briggs just needs to come in, make a save so that the timer goes beyond the alert timer that we're playing with, and then that's it. So, it really just comes down to damage litigation. Old Stockpile could be messed with, but it's probably going to be a save. Vanna Archives isn't going to be captured. Indoor by Pay isn't going to be captured. Ceres Hydroponics nope, that's not going to be captured. Tech Plant isn't going to be captured. There's no point being there. The Zervan Pump... can't be captured either. Now they can Crimson Bluff. In fact, this is it. This is the final lookout, guys. Nothing else really here matters because the timer goes. So
I think the story of this game is Miller was really good about defending the places it needed to and attacking the places it needed to, but it was cardiac kids every single time. It was the SCU would be allowed to be blown multiple times or resecures at the last possible second, and Briggs took advantage of that. In addition to the things that we always talk about, Briggs had better Sunder replacement. Briggs had air superiority for most of the match.
It's the air superiority that did it, because Indar is such an open, exposed area with lack of safe spawns that their air power definitely allowed them to suppress counter pushes or buy time, but it also allowed them to have Sunders that were deployed and be unmolested.
I mean, it just goes to show you, you can be incredibly on point and you can make those last second saves, but as good as that feels, you want to be moving your forces around and not having to make the last second save. Practicing to move and blow up spawn Sunders and then push onto the point and not do it with a 0-second resecure or while the SCU is blown, things like that. I think Briggs managed to get exactly the bases they wanted to off the beginning, and even though Miller pushed into the crown and got it, they were never able to utilize the stuff that the crown gives you. They were never able to push out. They got the palisade briefly, they lost it again, they managed to get Ceres far too late, and they were never able to actually push in and get the territory. Just look at the map. You can see that one little tendril of where Miller managed to push in, and look at the really three tendrils of where Briggs managed to push in. They found the weak spots and they pushed them really hard.
SCU compromised.
Just waiting for the last 80 seconds to tick down. Not checking the rest of the maps. No, nothing else can really go down. There's not enough time. So this is basically the snapshot of how the map is. Briggs redeployed in the tech plant. I was like, you're not having the tech plant. Yeah, so they redeployed on the tech plant, and that was it.
I can say I am kind of surprised as to how an Indar ServerSmash played out.
It was interesting. I really enjoyed it.
The only base I think that met my expectations of what would happen would be Alatum. I expected Alatum to be a grind. It's a biolab. It's Alatum biolab at that. It managed to fall at the end really only because Miller had far too many other fires to put out. If there had only been one or two bases to deal with, they probably could have gotten that. If you had told me that somebody would manage to take the crown under pressure, I would have been shocked. If you had told me that somebody would have managed to push Crossroads as far as Briggs did, I would have been shocked.
Yeah. I mean, so from Briggs' point of view, they did well. They got Interpay point last, but they got the majority of the bases and they were holding their territory. Miller did relatively good on the eastern front, and then holding onto Latin for as long as they did and applying pressure. They did extremely well when they took the crown back, as you said, and saved the Crossroads Watchtower. But Briggs did an extremely...
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End of match. Briggs wins with 52% versus Miller's 44%.
So there you go, that has it. Now, we will get the people for interview if Justicia or Maelstrom can go grab them and get them ready. But what I was about to say was that the Crimson Bluff was really important for the Briggs force because it allowed that entire Zervan push at the end. And the fact that, another thing that Briggs did really, really well was at Palisade and bases like almost at Ceres Hydroponics, they lost the base, but they had the momentum to immediately recapture and re-push, and then and take the base back almost instantaneously, and that kind of comes down to their air force and having external control. Right. What's up?
That was that.
Okay, so anyway, so as we look over the tech plant, we'll just go over some of the final stats here before we get our kind of post-match interview with our force commanders and just see what was going through their heads and what they were doing.
One of the, what's interesting here is just the way that the two servers used the territory that they managed to get out of that opening. Briggs managed to get Crimson Bluff, and they originally had the crown, but they also took better territory around Alatum Biolab, and you can see that's where they gained their territory. Even once Miller pushed in, they owned Vanu Archives, they owned Alatum at the very beginning, and they managed to push the crown. There was a time where they owned Vanu, Alatum, and the crown, and you would think that would be where you would try and push and take your territory, and they never were able to get that momentum going. Briggs always stopped them there, whereas Briggs managed to take Crimson Bluff early, and that's, you can see that tendril reaching down, capping Zervan Amp Station, capping Zervan Network Complex, moving down into that area. That's, I think, what's going to make these Indar fights happen is you have to get see what you get out of the opening, and then figure out where you can consolidate your forces and grab the most amount of territory. Briggs was simply better at doing that today.
I'm just kind of looking at some of the vehicles and the outfits. I'm just on the stats, kind of scrolling down, showing at different people.
Just station alcohol. Once again, can I get the force commanders in the interview channel, please?
I think first alcohol didn't work there, but oh.
Right, and players. Assuming the stats are correct, and that's with a pinch of salt here, Vashiden has got 254 kills, if you're going by pure kill count. I wonder if Air Force got the top kills here just by the sheer numbers, or if perhaps some infantry fighting, because I do see some guys here who are infantry fighters. I don't know if they were flying though, so we'll maybe find that out later, but they are here, and you have got the link in chat to check out the stats for yourself. The map timeline does show there was a build up in the centre, and the neutral territories, and it went back and forth, and Miller even took the lead when they took the crown. They took the lead. I mean, that was, you thought they might get back into it, and then Briggs came back and got Southeast Get back, got Highland Solar. Miller came back with a Palisade, and that's when it was super close within one base. And at that point with the Solar, Briggs just ran away with it and took 5 straight bases. And at that point, Miller tried to come back and tried to narrow it, and at a certain point, they did get close. They get within about 3 base difference, but no, Briggs just kind of got the fail part. So as soon as the Palisade flipped for Miller, just Briggs turned it up a notch and then took it. Right, so is that the reps down below?
Yes.
So let's drop down then and talk to our force commanders.
Gentlemen,
Hello guys, how you all doing? Enjoying your heart attacks?
GG, Briggs.
That was stressful, man. I won't lie to you. The plan we had turned to liquid in about 15 minutes. You guys trashed it pretty early.
What was the plan?
Our plan was to brute force Aladdin Biolab and Vano Archives very, very quickly, and then work our way up the map from there. But you guys clearly had the same plan we did, and played a very good offensive game in those areas while we were trying to capture them initially.
Yeah, that was the initial plan as well. But we didn't expect to lose in their Bay Point, which put a dent into the western flank.
What about Minder's plan for Crimson Bluff? Did you expect to lose that? Because it seemed tenuous, focusing on other things, and then all of a sudden it was just gone.
We did not expect to lose Crimson Bluff. Like, our priorities were Van Archives, Crimson Bluff, and in their Bay Points. And once we lost Crimson Bluff, it was like pretty stressful up there, but it wasn't the end of the world. The eastern flank was pretty well held by Platoon 3, which was Vogel, FOG, INI, and RO, and we had the Cure up there as well. So they did a pretty good job up there, but it still didn't matter at the end because Briggs was putting a lot of pressure on the west as well, and the crown fell as well. We did manage to cap that.
Let's talk about after the opening happened and after things settled. Miller, what was your intention after? So you held Alton Biolab, you held Vanu Archives, you had lost Indar Bay Point, and you had lost Crimson Bluff. What did you decide to do? Your plan was in ruins. You eventually pushed and took the crown. Was that immediately what you wanted to do, or did you do that because you saw an opportunity to later on?
We saw an opportunity was created by one of our platoon leaders, Sakusander. But our plan from there was to actually manage to secure the area around Alton Biolab, so it wouldn't have been a pop sync, but Briggs did an awesome job keeping us in the Biolab and around that area without us being able to actually push out. They always had people on Snake Ravine, they had people on Alton Bonnie Wing, so it was pretty hard for us. And yeah.
And Briggs, I was stunned after you took Snake Ravine that instead of pushing to Vanu Archives, which it looked like what you had been pushing for most of the match, you went to Crossroads and you came really, really close to
a double 1 second. Double 1 second. It came down to 1 second. You got another point, went back to 1 second from 0, and then you lost it.
There were saves made by both teams, which bases came within a bee's dick of flipping over, and we didn't unfortunately make it. Our initial plan was to brutally drop high population on Aladdin Biolab and Vano Archives, but as Cable said, their plans were basically the same as ours for the opening volley, and their guys both outplayed and outpopped ours in those hexes initially. We had a couple of hammer platoons working in that particular region, ranging from Aladdin Bio, Vano Archives to Crossroad and the Crown to try and secure that loop. It's a large chunk of territory which has got a lot of air defense potential, which we were quite hoping to exploit. Unfortunately, they managed to get the Crown office. There was a period there towards the mid-game as things were settling in when Miller were making an excellent job of keeping pressure across all fronts, and I was quite honestly having trouble keeping up the defense across all those lines at the same time. Fortunately, the way we formulated it, a lot of our guys have got extensive battle experience on Briggs in particular due to the low pop of our server and the way the alert system worked, more or less locking us to the continent. So there was a lot of autonomy from our platoon leaders in the field to make independent decisions, and a lot of their calls paid off nicely.
I want to read something that was in Twitch chat here and see if you guys agree with it. This is from Twiggo104. That was just like live. Huge farm at Alatum, endless failure at Crimson Bluff, and command ordering everyone to the Crown.
Was speaking about the Crown, right? I mean, we just saw. I personally thought that Miller might have had better territorial success by putting more emphasis on the biolab and going for the surrounding bases. But you kept cracking away at the Crown, and sure enough, the Bravo and Charlie points on the south did favour you. But what was it like grabbing that? I mean, you just go all in and we're going to take it no matter what, or what?
No, at that point, we were pushing off Briggs out of Crossroads. So as soon as I saw people pulling away from the Briggs side, I just said everyone redeploy to the Crown, reinforce the cap, because we already had a cap there and it was 1 minute 4 seconds. But yeah, it didn't matter at the end. The Crown was a bloody good fight. Crossroads was a bloody good fight as well. But yeah.
So, I mean, we are in testing new maps here. Obviously, you are the first victims to deal with Indar in ServerSmash. What are your feelings about Indar in ServerSmash? Did you enjoy it? Did you feel it offered something different to the other continents? Did you hate it? What are your feelings?
I think you might have to have a chat to the boys on the ground about that. I had the luxury of being a bit of an armchair general for this one and watching everyone else sweating it out. I think I'm going to be hearing PTSD stories for some time to come after a few of those fights down there.
Yeah, because there's some fights like the Biolab and Crimson Bluff, like 2 hours long.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's a wicked line of 3-point bases across the center line of Indar, with really only TI Alloys being the initial single pointer, which can become a territory opener that you can brute force with a single point cap. So we knew from the start that it was going to be a little bit of a base exchange along that primary line, followed by some brutal grinds that were going to last the majority of the match. We're well aware of the redeploy side factor. It's quite easy for a team to brutally stack one base, get the clock up as far in their direction as they're willing to push it before they themselves get outpopped by a counter crash, and then move on to another base in order to keep that sort of ball rolling along the lines and juggling timers, as opposed to really just spreading your forces evenly and dedicating to a push. So there's a bit of a chess game going on there between us for quite some time.
I did kind of, you did guys up the number from 240 to 288, so it did kind of increase the population density, and we do know that Indar map design isn't the best. You know, it's a lot of design for smaller fights. It's not like Hossin where they make much larger enclosures. But I just find it hilarious how you got the Crossroads fight, which was 96 plus, easily 2 platoons plus, easily. And then as soon as that died off, it nigh on instantaneously then migrated to the Crown. Just instant. And it was like, oh, we're not fighting this tower, no, we'll just find that tower to the north. And it's just the entire Zerg just moved.
It's that, yeah. Oh, sorry, Cable, you go ahead, mate.
Yeah, it felt like... I have a question for you first. Did you choose the TR because of Pounders and Vulcans, or was there some other hidden thing behind it?
Actually, we chose the north side of the map first. We would have preferred the NC, but unfortunately, you guys got the drop on that one for us.
Okay.
Well, do you like spandex?
Our general battle strategy tends to favour either the TR or NC. I suppose it comes down to a server base. Say, traditionally in the ServerSmash, a lot of servers and a lot of teams like to favour and pick the VS as their primary pick. I personally think this tends to come down more to dedicated server politics than the preference of factions in the field. Say for servers where a lot of the more elite and senior outfits that have both battlefield and political influence tend to gravitate towards VS, so therefore the ServerSmash faction choices will often gravitate towards VS as well. On the TR, a lot of those outfits are either NC or TR based, just purely based on weight of numbers. While we've got excellent outfits across all three factions, a lot of our heaviest hitters sort of gravitate towards TR and NC. En masse, that is.
To answer the previous question about the crown and the population, it felt like the Southern Warp Gate was in a bit of a disadvantage because it had a lot of... The Northern Warp Gate has a lot of offensive potential, and unless the Southern Warp Gate is able to capture Indar Bay Point, Vanor Archives, and Crimson Bluff, it constantly has to be on the back foot. But I think that map in Indar as it stands right now can even go above 288 and still be very successful, because it just favors, in my opinion, a lot of population, but it has to be distributed in a well...
and then therein lies the issue with the redeployment side, because we were looking at Highland Solar Station, and Highland Solar is a base that, let's be clear here, has probably been around a very long time and hasn't received much love, right? And it is a tiny-ass little base, and at a certain point, you must have sent over 200 people here combined, the two teams. Yep. That... like Briggs with maybe a 300 ping and Miller with 140 ping, and then there's aircraft, there's explosions. As a player experiencing that must be hell.
Reminds of back in the old day when it was defend the last base on Indar so that the other people don't cap it kind of thing.
Oh, and I guess, sorry, well, it's one other thing that really important is that, Briggs, you guys had an Air Force in the skies, and we tried to cover it as best we can, and I know we weren't perfect. And Miller, we saw your air push when you first took Palisade about the halfway marker, and you pushed off the Briggs Air Force, but that's the only real fight I saw. Can you guys tell me about the air battle, maybe what was going on with the Air Forces there? Because it felt as if Briggs had air control quite dominantly and was using it as a force multiplier the entire game.
I was actually up in the air with the Briggs air machine, and yeah, we were quite often engaged with Miller's air. Didn't feel like we had air superiority, but there were a lot of opportunities when we got to just go to town with the Bulldogs from the Galaxies.
Well, Seb would speak about it better than I can, but he's not here. So basically, on the air side, I felt that Briggs did a very good job. Like, our pilots at certain situations said that they cannot go through the center of the map just because Briggs had either anti-air nests around the map, which was a very good strategy to handle us, and the pilots were really good from the Briggs side. We initially planned on grounding you guys a couple of times, but that time didn't come to favor. So.
Those ground guys were actually working in conjunction with the air. They were all moving together, working well together, making sure everything happened well. And there was a lot of times when the Galaxies were getting full up of troops because nobody had resources.
Right, yeah.
We owe a lot of our air success to Zesarov from Shock, who's pretty much our genius mastermind of aircraft. And he sits there with spreadsheets about as much as the reps alone, just scheming as to how he can lay out the team and...
I did notice like, so when the Miller Force were, like, for example, pushing the Mao Tech plant, right, in the southeast gate, I did notice that they tried a couple of times, and yeah, sure, they eventually got it with just the pure determination, but I did notice that the Air Force would turn up, like, literally 5 seconds too late. If they were just a fraction earlier, they could have made a difference on the outside while we still had people on the inside. Whereas with Briggs, it was like, no, you were just there from the beginning. The air was there, you dominated from the beginning, and then that was it for the whole fight.
Zess has got a wicked eye for detail on this sort of thing. Something we were trying to do across the map as best we could for the duration of the fight was use as little as possible to achieve as most effect as possible. unfortunately for the guys on the ground, I was sending a lot of them into brutal meat grinders, and that goes for the Air Force as well. Those guys must have got minced up pretty badly in a lot of fights just because of the weight of numbers that was going on there. But essentially, I was trying to keep most of our guys fighting at 60-40 in the enemy's favour to try and tie up as many enemy forces as possible with as little as we get to enable more pushing on more territory at a time. Pretty tough.
Something else that we saw occasionally was a little bit of armor battles. Did you guys plan to use armor more than you would on another continent because it was Indar? We did see some lockdown prowlers. We saw a little bit of vanguards, although frankly from the NC we saw more lightnings, I would say. Maybe that was just a resource tactic. But what were your feelings on trying to use armor on Indar?
It wasn't necessarily... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Azul. You can carry this.
I was just going to say that for Indar specifically, we actually brought in a new division to our ServerSmash force called the Chariot, which it was a dedicated 12, was it, Scott? 12-man harasser crew that roamed around the plains of Indar.
Did see that. Were they at the biolab, and then all of a sudden that we noticed Miller bringing like this tank kind of armor Vanguard Sunder Force at the beginning, at least.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well they did yet. That's something we're going to be having a discussion about afterwards.
Still yet to be talked about exactly how effective that was in the field.
But
yeah, always trying something new.
Certainly, due to the locale of Indar, we made the pick to use armor more than we would on other continents where it's more restricted.
Well, I mean, that was great, guys. So we're going to head off and just end the show. I hope you enjoyed Indar. We're going to have a few more Indar games just to get everyone to feel it out, see how it goes, and we'll take it from there. But I take it you guys had good fun. Do you have any final words for each other before we head off?
GG.
Yeah, much respect to Miller. You guys have been a humble and gracious opponent all the way through, both in external negotiations to the fight as well as the battle itself. We're really looking forward to fighting you guys, and congratulations on a fight well fought. Lots of respect from Briggs to Miller. We like you guys a lot.
Yeah, GG guys. Bricks were pretty awesome, and hopefully the next time we'll be able to make you guys change that header on Reddit you have, but this time you're still having it. So keep it up and destroy the other guys until next time.
No worries. Thanks very much, man.
Cool. Okay, Red. Well, that was pretty baller to watch. I'm curious to see how people, maybe we'll find out on Reddit, on maybe you guys can tell us on stream how the game was, how the ping was, how the population density, how the Indar map, because we're really interested because it's a test map.
Yeah, we're going to have all the different servers, or as many as the servers as we can, play on an Indar map, and we want to know: is it terrible? Does nobody want to play on it ever again? Is it something that adds a little bit of spice to the game? And I'm sure that the opinions will be as varied as they are about Indar on Live.
Sure. So I haven't been given a brief about Planetside pickups, so they may or may not happen. If you want to find out, go to the Planetside Battle subreddit to find out if there's anything going on. But in terms of ServerSmash, that is the end of March games, so March games are over. We do have ServerSmash 35 and 36. They will be our April games. The first game will be on April the 11th, and it's all Civil War games, US on US, EU on EU. We have Connery versus Emerald. That is happening on April the 11th. It is happening in 2015, obviously. Now, we need to check the times here, but I was under the impression it was a 6 o'clock start for Connery, 9 o'clock start for Emerald, but that will be ironed out, so we'll find out the exact details for you. And then for ServerSmash 36, that is Cobalt versus Miller, an EU job. That is on April the 18th, 2015. That is, as far as I've been speaking to the Force Commanders, that is a 1900 UTC, but understand now that we've entered summertime, so that means it is an 8 o'clock UK start with a 9 o'clock Europe start. I believe those are correct timings, so we just need to get that absolutely confirmed, but that is what we have down on our piece of paper at the moment. So that's our upcoming ServerSmash games, 35 and 36, coming in April. Do stay tuned. If Briggs wants to have another civil internal Briggs on Briggs game, we can organise that. Just get in contact with us. And I guess that's it, Bredlin. Do you have any final words before we head off?
No. Good to finally play on Indar, I think.
We tried so hard to get this map to work, and here we are. Yeah. Okay, guys, so take care. Good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and we will see you again in April.